the middle of little did we know.
I'm serious about mine. I'm so sincere.
Now at last I have seen a judgment of Solomon.
And this is
Thought Crimes.
Everybody want to be a nigga, but nobody want to be a nigga. How about that question?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are tonight's entertainment. I only have one question.
Who the fuck you think you fucking with? I run shit here. You just live here.
I want to sing y'all a brand new song I just wrote called Don't Trust Them New Niggas Over There.
Don't be a Negro, be my nigga. All right, help me out.
Hold on. I ain't nobody's nigga.
Well, I mean, you somebody's nigga wearing this nigga top.
Bitch ain't no legend. I'm the legend in this motherfucker. You can't be no legend and you 5 fucking years old. This motherfucker just called somebody a legend. Oh my.
We'll do it live. No. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
I ain't scared of you motherfuckers.
What business are you in?
I make my bread and butter. I'm pushing.
What business are you in?
I make my bread and butter. I'm pushing. I'm pushing. I'm pushing. I'm pushing.
What business are you in?
I make my bread and butter.
Welcome to Thought Crime, baby.
Welcome to Thought Crimes, everybody. Of course, this is your man, Prince Solomon, in the building, along here with...
Sincere Ignorance.
That's right. Happy New Year's. Happy Gregorian New Year's to all of you people out there, all of you conscious folks. By the way, just to let you know, so of course, we're going to be talking about a myriad of things today. Number one, we'll be talking about Fart Smelly, R. Kelly. And we'll be talking about the documentary, the 3-part documentary that will be debuting on Lifetime, and is by the like of Dream Hampton. Shouts out to that wonderful sister right there, bringing it to R. Kelly's neck, along here with a baby face, John Legend, one of the industry insiders who has not been afraid to come forward. Of course, given the fact that he originates from Chicago, I'm sure that man has a lot of conviction in his approach, by the way. So shouts out to everybody in the chat room. Of course, again, your man Prince Solomon here with the big girl herself, Sincere Ignorance, holding it down. So we're definitely going to be getting off into these things. And of course, as per usual, we're going to allow some of you people to call in and share your thoughts about the situation, about the live stream, about the broadcast. Some of y'all going to call in and tell us what do you feel, what do you think about R. Kelly, and why is it 15 years too late? Boy, talking about CP time, R. Kelly, 15 years too late, haven't been able to arrest him, sit him down, and put him away. In fact, he has been celebrated. Sid and I had that chance to check out one of the more recent broadcasts of his terrible performance by the like of one Gonzo Face knows Lady Gaga. Golly, that is a snout on her. And we saw that disgusting performance. And it was, what was it, make my body do whatever you want? Some sex slave type of stuff? Is that correct, Sincere?
Yeah, it was some sex slave stuff, but again, she's a grown woman. It's about co-signing the despicable behavior of R. Kelly. And yes, a round of applause to Dream Hampton for her to have the bravery. She's been in the hip-hop game for a long time. Eventually ejected herself from hip-hop because she was, disgusted by the misogyny, the sexism, and the multiple excuses from within the hip-hop culture and outside the culture about the disgusting behavior and some of the vitriol in the lyrics pertaining to sexual abuse towards women. So a round of applause to her.
Round of applause to that sister, Dream Hampton. Definitely a value cultural critic. I don't think too many people wearing that coat all heavily today. She's still wearing her coat heavily as a cultural critic. And what's Sincere, I'm not a black woman. I mean, if I was a black woman, this would be a different type of relationship. But I can understand her distress. I mean, even when you look at some of her interviews, she seemed extremely, immensely fatigued. And I'm just being honest with you. Right now, I have to unplug myself. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I can understand her having to deal with 20 years of it, the misogyny, the misogynoir. And yes, the terrible, terrible, terrible culture of promoting, facilitating, and celebrating rape. Just what we saw with Rick Ross's lyrics. You ain't even know.
Put Molly in her drink. She didn't even know it.
Oh, Rick Ross, I hope you on the treadmill. All right, hefty Negro. So yes, we're gonna be talking about that, and
are we gonna be talking about what happened in McDonald's as well?
Yes. Oh man.
To the young lady. We're gonna watch the video with everybody.
Michelle Tyson, laying it down. Get them with the right. What do you think about that, Sid? We're definitely gonna be talking about that, right?
Yeah, we're gonna get to that one. I mean, it's up to everyone else. Do you want to start with the Big Mac or McDonald's, the Happy Meal, whatever the fuck you call it?
Let's get the McDonald's meal out the way.
That's where you want to go?
Yeah, because
Prince just trumped y'all vote and said, let's talk about McDonald's.
Let them have it.
All right, let me go over and switch over to what took place there as well.
Let's get Fart Smelly off the screen.
Oh yeah.
You know, but we'll get back to him. We'll get back to him. We're gonna beeline back to you, R. Kelly.
John, wait. Hey, stop. Get the police. Let her go. Get the police. Sir, stop.
I'm on it. 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 I'm not going home. Be right back. Be right back.
No. Fire right now.
No, you're going to jail. You're returning my
I
card.
told you. I was just asking you a question. So
y'all just saw that.
Y'all saw Muhammad Ali.
And this is what I'm gonna say. You don't put your hands on anybody because of a dispute.
Your hands inside the whip.
You know, it don't matter if a person works at a fast food restaurant or delivering your mail. If you have a dispute with them, you do not put your hands on anybody.
Yeah, you know, look, I can, testify to this because I had worked in the public service industry for a long time, and also retail industry, customer sales, and for whatever reason, the general public feels they have the right, the God-given right, to disrespect people in the public service industry, especially those in the retail industry. And you heard what he said. I was just asking you a question, not with your hand on her name badge. You had your hand all on her name badge, and she caught you with the right, like Migos fight night. So, that's how it goes. And he was so biased about the situation, he didn't even acknowledge that he initiated the assault.
Oh, yeah, like, it doesn't even matter what verbally happened between them. Let's say hypothetically she wasn't handling the customer the way that she is supposed to. Let's say hypothetically that even happened. Once you put your hands on somebody, that all goes out the window. She is not going to get fired. You should be arrested because you just committed assault. That goes beyond business protocols. That goes beyond anything you can cry about pertaining to her. You just assaulted somebody, so now you are going to go to jail. And then two, the dude is like 2 times her size, and she still was able to whop his ass. So that means, dude, you better get on a treadmill or something.
Well, you know what?
I mean, them bones are looking pretty damn weak.
He thought that white privilege was a superpower. Oh, sorry, I just asked you. I said, oh my God. Yeah, so I'll tell you this, you all. First thing, I've actually had some customers, usually the males, and that's a woman, so it's a reverse dynamic there. But I've had males, and particularly white males, felt some type of way while I was telling them, no, we do not sell the balls up on the mouse anymore, sir. Everybody's moved to optical mouses. You know what I'm saying? So for whatever reason, racism or privilege or just feeling that he had the right to put his hands on her. And again, I'm just going to say this. There's a general spirit across the board with the public that they feel they can be very disrespectful to those who serve them their food, those who give them their mail, those who work in the customer retail industry. I mean, I've seen brothers and sisters have to cut up on some customers because customers felt a little too gully.
Oh, absolutely. People think that they can be disrespectful to anybody, right now. Even within our culture, people make excuses about the disrespect Trump has in the presidency, the disrespect that's within our government, the disrespect that happens towards the citizens by police officers, towards police officers by citizens.
Yes.
It's disrespect across the board that's, it is going about. And a lot of people are afraid to check it. I'm not going to say nobody. I'm really proud of the people who are not being decensored by those who say stop being a social justice warrior, or by those who say you shouldn't be have any outrage, like all that, those talking points that has actually gone beyond what it should have been. I'm glad that you still have people that say, you know what that dude did at McDonald's that was wrong. He needs to be handled. He needs to charges need to be pressed on him for grabbing that woman and for showing that disrespect. Too many times people make excuses for bad behavior, whether it's music, whether it's actors, whether it's somebody working a 9 to 5, or a customer. And I'm glad that you still have people that understand decency, that are actually coming out here going after sponsors, like what happened in Starbucks when them 2 black men were basically, the cops were called on them and unjustly.
Yes.
And everyday people went after Starbucks sponsors. You had black people who also was able to have black-owned coffee shops go up in revenue. You had allies to black people, because believe it or not, black people do have allies. Allies don't mean they're your friends, but they'll help you with certain causes. So you had allies also boycott certain sponsors for Starbucks until they apologized and also changed their policy. So we saw that take place. So it's very, very wise and smart that you still have people who understand and comprehend that their voice have a lot of power, and they're not going to shut up because people tell them to shut up.
I tell you what, this wouldn't have happened at McDowell's. Look, even when you speak to what you stated about allies, even those people, if you want to call them allies, they're a majority of times their situation is, this is just a human rights violation.
Exactly, those are the allies. Whether it's for this particular case, ACLU comes in or whatever, those are allies.
Just keep your hands to yourself.
Keep your hands to yourself.
Keep your hands to yourself. I don't know why that is so hard to understand. I've seen it firsthand. I had a brother one time. I was working at a computer center, and I'm not gonna shout out the trash company's name, but the brother got angry with me because he was late on the rebate. I said, sir, this rebate expired like 2 months ago. And he was walking around the counter like he was about to put his hands on me. I said, my man, I just have a tie on. I don't have a ball and chain on, bro. If you want to do that, we can move some furniture around. And he got his hefty self back on around that counter. Because you know what? That's just how it is. And you know what? I'm going to be honest. Can we get that sister a round of applause?
Absolutely, for defending herself.
Yeah, and shouts out to the brothers for not messing up her stride. Because I'm going to tell you what it is. Look, some of the brothers online, some of the people online, they were saying, well, why didn't the brothers do anything? Well, they didn't want to interrupt her. They saw she was doing it. She was handling it. And then brother eventually, he was like, all right. He backed the dude up. But they didn't want to interrupt her flow. She needed to get that stress out.
She was Mike Tyson. She looked like she was under a lot of stress.
Yeah, they was like, man, I ain't interrupting that.
She has some really inner strength there that she was using.
People talking about why didn't they don't interrupt somebody while they chewing their food.
That stupid white boy was surprised too. He's like, oh shit.
They just the strongest of guys. Like that's the thing too. Like you can't go put your hand on a black woman. Cause look, where do you think these strong ass boys come from and these strong ass girls come from? Strong men and strong women.
Where you think that fucking LeBron James genetics come from?
Come on now.
You think it just comes from his dad? No, it comes from both parents.
You know how many times I seen my mother rough up women like with at least half her age? I remember one time I was walking with my mother. This is when I knew when I was little that my mother had Harriet Tubman strength. And we was walking to the store in Atlanta, Georgia, and these 2 cluckhead girls came out and said they was gonna kick her ass. That's what they said. We gonna kick your ass for your daughter's mouth. All my mother said, son, move back. And I was a little boy. And I watched her rough those girls up. And you know what? Those girls, their mama took them to court because they got their ass whooped so bad. And these were healthy young girls. The judge says, look, next time don't step in the ring. And he slammed the gavel and he let my mother go.
Oh, well, it's the time where I'll say this. People, if you don't recognize it now, the disrespect towards black women is not going to continue. You have a lot of organizations headed by black women that are out right now that are doing their thing. You have a lot of black women who have been, writers, advocates, people who are fighting against injustice, they're not going to allow this behavior to continue, because everybody have felt over the longest time they could disrespect black women. Whether you had dusty YouTubers, yapping their fucking mouths off, whether you had, other people on other platforms thinking they can treat black women like they aren't even a woman, first of all. So it's very clear that the heat is going to keep getting hotter and hotter pertaining to black women, because they're not going to allow to be disrespected at the workplace, disrespected in their homes, disrespected on the streets. You have a lot of black women going into local politics as well. Black female judges, black female senators, House of Representatives. So people have to keep in mind, what you thought you was able to get away with in the 90s and the 80s and the 70s and the 60s and the 50s and the 40s and the 30s and the 20s and stuff. A lot of that is coming to an end. Even though it's at its beginning stages, it is still moving very fast.
Yeah, no doubt about that. You're absolutely correct. I mean, this is the era right now where black women are making incredible strides, and especially as a social collective, and also embracing the likes of the black male counterparts, those who are not hard-headed. I'm just keeping it real and blunt with you. Again, the lines will be open if you disagree. And another thing about it, too, going back to the point, because I saw a lot of people complain about some of the brothers. Now, I'll be honest with you. The type of guy that I am, I would have pulled the cracked hard up off the sister a little faster, but
more like at least a light chokehold, to get him off,
I would have moved a little faster, but I still would have restricted his hands just to let her get a few more swings in. That I am a dirty nigga like that when it comes to black folks, especially with the cracked hearts. But that's just me. Now I know I would have moved a little bit more faster, but at the end of the day, the sister got the victory, you know what I'm saying? And on top of that, it was shown on camera that he lunged first. We know how many people try to flip the script and act like the black person started it first,
Also, I'm gonna press pause real quick, because I want to play one more time for those who just came into the building. We're gonna play one more time.
Muhammad Ali.
Play it one more time. So we're showing what took place in McDonald's, where this white dude tried to attack this black woman at McDonald's while she was doing her job.
John, wait.
Stop. Get the police. Let her go. Get the police.
Sir, stop.
Looked like he was about to have a hernia.
Well, you know what? And here's the thing about it. Did you see the strength he pulled her? Like he was gonna shock her. Like, I'm a man and I'm pulling you towards me. She didn't even flinch. That's a black woman for you. Black women do not blink. I don't understand that. Like, everybody keep trying to. They do not blink. Girl, I'll knock you out. And what? You saw her? He yanked her. Like, if that would have been a white woman, help! Help! I don't want to knock into the microphones, but you see when he pulled, it was like that, and she zeroed right in.
Zeroed right in.
If that would have been a white, help! Help! So, again, that sister obviously has not had any games left to play with his ass. And you know what? He was so surprised about it. You saw how immediately he played the victim?
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
she knocked some sense into his head.
There's some people who are requesting to open up the phone lines before we go into the R. Kelly. Do you want to give people 10 minutes on that?
All right.
We go to R. Kelly?
You all don't speak ahead of us now. I want you to keep it on Whack Donald's.
Yeah, these are only the phone lines are only going to be open for 10 minutes, only for the people who want to call on this subject. And
this subject.
And then we're moving on to R. Kelly.
Pay attention.
All right, so I'm about to open it up right now. Hold on.
McDonald's may give her a scholarship. I heard they only like $1,000. Yeah. Oh, so everybody's saying she's an amateur boxer. Is that correct? I see 85 and Nafi the Prince. Shouts out to Nafi the Prince and 85X's. Some people in the comment section says she's an amateur boxer. Okay. I told y'all about that story about a homeboy of mine. He ran up on homeboy that we knew on the block that was a Golden Glove boxer. And as soon as I saw his stance, I said, "Z, you might want to fall back. I got this, cuz. Stand back. Whop up." That's all we saw.
The number is 281-899-0392. Again, the number is 281-899-0392. You could call in. Again, we only got 10 minutes on the clock for this particular subject before we move into R. Kelly. Yeah. So if you want to discuss it, Call in right now.
You know what? Another thing about this, Sin. What do you make of the culture? You know, I'm not saying it's just now flourishing, but what do you make of the culture or the mentality of that everybody is less than you as an opponent when you just decide to lunge at them? You don't have any background information on this opponent. Like how he just grabbed her and assumed that he was going to shake some fear into this little sister.
You know, I really don't know even what to say, you know, to that.
Okay.
You know, I think.
Because you know that's how you fight, right?
I think people think they
Sin got some hands.
I think people think, of course, they could try black women anyway.
Yeah.
You know, I think even on the racial and the female factor of those two things, he probably thought, you know, on the race end, maybe she will get in trouble, and then on the gender end, he could overpower her.
Yeah.
So he felt he could do a 1-2. You know, if it was a black male, he would feel, well, maybe I could get away from the race thing, but he may whoop my ass.
Yeah, that's usually how they think about black men.
If he saw it was a white woman, he was like, well, I can get her, but, you know, I probably will get put into jail. I'll get in trouble.
He understands the power dynamic of the
so
classification.
He thought with the black woman he could get the whole package, and he was actually mistaken. We actually have a caller here.
He thought he saw some extensions. He thought he could get away with that with the, you know what I'm saying? Caller, you're now live with Thought Crimes. What's on your mind?
Yo, what up, TC? This is Vincent Taylor out in PG County.
All right, What's up?
Yeah, first things first. Happy New Year to y'all. Hope you had a Merry Christmas and all that shit.
And we appreciate that.
Yeah, this is all I got to say about that young. All I can say is this. I am waiting for these little Asian people in these little shops fucking with these sisters. I'm waiting for one of them sisters to just start slinging bitches. I am waiting for it. And I know it's coming.
Oh, I've seen a couple of it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've seen that in person. Look, it's like Sin said. I don't know why people feel comfortable of trying black women. You know, most of them, a good 99% of them, got hands on them.
Well, I mean, I don't want people to have it be exaggerated, though. There are a lot of guys that can still.
No, it's not about fighting the guys per se. It's just trying.
I'm just letting them know, like, you know, still on average, even for a black woman, a guy can still overpower. You know, some people say that this particular black woman, you know, is an amateur boxer. And also the adrenaline that was pumping. The dude looked like he wasn't, like, I think probably in a real fight, she would probably be able to get him.
Yeah.
But you're not going to always get that situation where a guy's going to be fat and lazy like that and look like he hasn't, you know what I'm saying? So
but keep it real with you. Most people are unhealthy. Like,
just
keep it real. Yeah, just keep it real.
I saw that video from from the other YouTuber channel. I said I didn't see her just ball rog that nigga. She was like bam, bam, bam. I was like, damn.
And you know what? Did you see? Hey, player, did you see what happened though? After a while, she wouldn't let him go. Did you see that?
She's like, bring that ass here, boy. Bring that ass. You want to knuckle you butt, nigga? You about to get knucked upside your fucking head, boy.
Boy, man, I don't know what he thought this was, an episode of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, but I'm gonna leave on this point right here. But look, all them niggas out there, some of these blackity black YouTubers out here, and some of these blackity black pro black females out here saying niggas don't protect us and we unprotected. I'm like, bro, I'm getting real sick and tired of these niggas. I'm like, you act as though like all niggas out here ain't about to smack the shit out of some white boys, some Asian dudes. They get crazy with our women. That's like, bro, we out here, So don't think it for a second.
Yeah. I feel that, brother. I love that positive. Let's give that brother a round of applause, too, because he is speaking absolute facts on that. Rarely I've seen situations. Now, there's some other things we got critiques for the community.
That will be happening later.
Yeah, but there's a majority of times when I've seen a sister accosted, whether it's someone from within the community, outside the community, I've seen brothers turn into Rumble Night on that ass, on the person that was doing the accosting. Caller, you're now live with Thought Crimes. What's up?
No, that's the same caller.
Oh, my bad.
What's going on?
I'm about to hang up.
Boy, I'm tripping. Y'all know me.
Y'all know how I do, man.
My bad, player. I'm in call center mode.
Yeah, all right, man. Y'all take care.
All right, peace.
Man, I thought another call was in the queue. Shouts out to all the call center workers.
Sorry, everybody, but that was y'all 10 minutes. Now we're moving on to the next subject.
Okay.
Let me exit out with this real quick. And, of course, I really do want black women to start to call in a little bit more on this because, again, for those later after when we start talking about R. Kelly, if you want to somehow wrap that in with what happened at McDonald's, you can. But right now, we're about to get into R. Kelly.
Yeah, and also before we transition, saying real quick, I would advise more sisters to get involved with hand-to-hand combat training, MMA style, mixed martial arts training as well. We got a brother by the name of Body Bio Tactical. You can reach out to him, by the way, if you happen to be in that Dallas, Lancaster area. He offers training, weight loss regimens, and all of that stuff. So I definitely believe that sisters should get more into, the MMA fighting as well.
Oh, and also
just some sort of defense classes.
This is also how I see it. I know some people are getting into a dispute. Some people are saying men should defend women. I think everybody should, men should defend their community. And I think women should also know how to defend yourself just in case somebody isn't around to help you. We always have to talk about self-efficiency. I understand that on average, men are stronger than women, and that's a fact. But
except Michael Jackson.
Yeah, but if you learn martial arts, if you learn how to defend yourself, you learn how to use weapons, that definitely increases your chances by a large margin. And you can't always wait on somebody. I know you have certain YouTubers that talk about etiquette, and it's good to have etiquette too when you're around real one. Whether you're around somebody with an organization like Body Bio Tactical. Now, Body Bio Tactical is about defending women and children, for example. He, I'm sure, would do anything for his wife and also for protecting the community, the women in the community. But he also gives the women the tools to defend themselves as well. So we have to make sure we're giving women a balanced approach here. Because if you just say, "Oh, a man should defend you," and no man is around, let's say somebody break into your house.
What if that man is
That doesn't make any sense. You gotta there gotta be a balance there. You gotta learn how to defend yourself while also having men in the community that understand that they should value women and children. Especially when it comes to their community, because you need that whole unit in order for a community to even succeed,
What if that man misses the bus? Now you stuck. So, yeah, you have to do for self. And also, I advise, brothers and sisters in general, get into some boxing programs, get into some mixed martial arts, and also get into your health, man, because one thing about it, I tell people all the time, it don't matter how buff you are. I always see it's the person that's anaerobically superior and aerobically superior that always gets that win in. You know what I'm saying? Because, I see some brothers and sisters, and they are just on their Michael Johnson stuff, and they are overlapping people for the 4th and 5th win and taxing that ass. And that's what was going on. Because if you saw that old stanky man, you saw what happened with him, right?
He did look like he
ran out of breath.
Some brown
like
stains
all of it
on his boxers. No, come on. He looked like he got some. What they call that, streaks?
Yeah, he
looked like he had streaks.
I'm telling you, looking like melted chocolate. Or anyway, but I will say this: it looked like all his energy went out of his body after he did that one Goro move. And
he was tired.
That's the problem. He been eating at McDonald's too long.
If the sister just fight like Mayweather, he just would have got tired, and then she would have had just to go for the final knockout.
Yeah, think about it like this. It does make sense that she may be an amateur boxer. I don't know if that's confirmed or not, but even looking at her, how she was clutching with her left hand and still working her right and not breaking wind with it. He was already out of breath. He had one too many McFlurries.
And that's funny too.
Yeah. So anyway, folks, and what we'll do, again, we're going to keep it open for everybody to be able to call in pertaining to the R. Kelly situation. Now, we're going to have that line open. We're going to be allowing folks to call in and talk about Mr. R. Kelly and the situation with this documentary and the reason why it has taken over 15 years to even get to this point. You all think about this. We didn't had all the conspiracy documentaries, the Obama deception.
Obama deception.
We did the 9/11 commission report. Man, can we get something on R. Kelly? What's the conspiracy there?
I mean, let's even talk about, Dream Hampton.
Yes, Dream Hampton. Shouts out to Dream Hampton.
Absolutely.
Sister holding it down, and she's fed up. She says, look, I don't even care about this hip-hop stuff anymore. Go ahead, Sid.
The reason why we brought up Rick Ross, You Ain't Even Know It, which was a disgusting record, and he deserved to lose his Reebok deal. But Dream Hampton was one of the women, along with April and a lot of women in the 90s who used to be, writers and do essay pieces like Dream Hampton. used to be a writer for The Source. So these are women that are part of hip hop culture that was also trying to hold the men accountable for misogyny and sexism, different things like that. So when Rick Ross' song You Didn't Even Know It came out, she was one of the women that, you know, started to work with other organizations that went after Rick Ross sponsors to make sure that, you know, he would apologize or have to suffer repercussions for a rape track like that he says is not rape, and that's not what he was trying to promote. But
Talking about with Reebok.
Yeah, but it definitely was a rape track, and that's why he got in trouble and he lost his Reebok deal. So Dream Hampton definitely was a part of that. She's a woman who used to work for The Source again, and think of her like as Kevin Powell. You know, Kevin Powell, for example, is a part of, you know, hip hop journalism. Opinion pieces and stuff like that for a long time.
He had a stint in politics.
Yeah, and he too, you know, grew tired of that aspect of hip hop culture as well. You know, when it came to the misogyny and different things like that, and what happened to D
Barnes. He had an incredible interview with D Barnes, you know, and that you're absolutely right about that. And that was atrocious, and that energy has never left.
Yeah, you know, D Barnes got beat up by Dr. Dre in the bathroom. Everyone, you know, knows about that story or should knows about that story, and she became a joke. You know, Eminem used her as a punchline.
She did become a punchline.
Yeah, a lot of people used her as a punchline, even though she wasn't even instigating between the beef with NWA. But Dr. Dre beat her in the bathroom, which she still has seizures and stuff because of it.
Ringing in her head.
Exactly. Yeah. So you've had a lot of violence towards men between each other in hip-hop, of course. Violence men on women in hip-hop. And you have a lot of people who just who enjoy the cultural expression, who they've grown tired of it. They've grown tired of it. But, you know, thankfully, Dream Hampton hasn't given up on her work. And I'm glad that she moved on to direct Surviving R. Kelly, the 3-part episode that will be on Lifetime. And let's also talk about what she did. We got to give her a round of applause to John Legend, and I'm about to tell y'all why. Yeah. Just real quick.
That album, John Legend, once again, is a classic, by the way. I just had to put that out there once again. But, you know, let's give it up to John Legend, one of the few industry insiders that decided to stand out publicly.
Now, I'm going to show you this. I hope everybody sees it on the screen. So, Dream Hampton, she asked Jay-Z, she asked Mary J. Blige, Lil' Kim, Erykah Badu, Dave Chappelle, even Questlove to be in this documentary.
Oh, you mean the vegan brother with the afro?
Yeah, to be in this docu-series to talk about R. Kelly, the sex trafficking, the terror that he's put on sexually to these young black girls. She asked for them to be in there, and they all declined, except for John Legend. So once again, a round of applause to John Legend for not being a coward.
There you go. There you go, John Legend. Boy, who'd ever think we live in an era where people actually was like, you know what? John Legend is tougher than Kanye West. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're talking about. Oh, so
much tougher. And real quick, it's not real. Oh, go ahead.
Well, yeah, I was just going to say briefly, mind you, the reason why we have to preface this correctly, she worked closely with the aforementioned musicians. I mean, she did a book, I think it was called The Black Book with Jay-Z. She worked closely, you know, with a lot of some of these celebrities, and they said no. Basically no. And what was it, Questlove's excuse again? He said that it's pretty messy. That'll be really sticky.
Well, that's what she went into. She said these people are not necessary. Well, Erykah Badu and Lil' Kim are protecting R. Kelly. They are. Lil' Kim and Erykah Badu are protecting R. Kelly. But she said everybody who said no, it wasn't really because they were protecting R. Kelly, even though by being cowards you technically are. But they said because the situation was too messy. It's like when she spoke to Questlove, he said, I will do anything for you, but I can't do this, pertaining to going into the docuseries and actually fighting for these underage black girls. Because we all have to remember, it's easy for Jay-Z to do a series with Harvey Weinstein or with anybody else pertaining to the violence of systemic racism and, and structural racism. It's easy for Mary J. Blige to talk about what we need to do in the industry for black creatives. It's easy for Lil' Kim to talk about black women being represented in rapping. It's easy for Erykah Badu to have her fist raised up and tell little girls to close their legs and different things like that. And it's easy for Dave Chappelle to make political commentary with his jokes. But it's not easy when it comes to actually people coming out and defending young black girls with sexual abuse. Just like people don't want to talk about the uncle who molests a young girl, the mother or the aunt that denies the young girl being touched, or what happens to young girls in society, young black girls in society. Because like we said, a lot of people have allowed R. Kelly to breathe. At least Roman Polanski can't even come back to the United States. Like, people bring up Roman Polanski, right? Like, when black people talk about, double standards, they bring up Roman Polanski. Yet Roman Polanski, who raped a 15-year-old girl, can't come back to the United States. He cannot come back to the United States. All the pieces of crap that work with Roman Polanski, they have to fly over to France. And I don't think they can fly over to France anymore because he had to flee from France last year.
Well, France ain't got no economy anyway.
Yeah, it's breaking down.
That's another thing going on over there.
So it's very courageous what she did, because these are people who she considers friends also, so people could be aware. I mean, she wrote a book, with Jay-Z. So this is not somebody who doesn't know Mary J. Blige or doesn't know Erykah Badu or doesn't know Dave Chappelle. Dream Hampton is a woman, again, who's been in the hip-hop game for decades, who knows these people, and they did not want to entangle themselves with getting R. Kelly out of here.
Well, not only just entangling him, but, a lot of them can't talk anyway. You know what I'm saying? I mean, let's not act like people weren't messing around with little bitty rappers coming out talking about Il Na Na and they were like 15. Come on now. So, I mean, a lot of these people cannot talk in the industry. And for whatever reason, people have been evading R. Kelly as if he still had some sort of power.
He doesn't even have power, and people are avoiding him.
Yeah, that's the thing about it. Like, let's get him up out of here. Like, come on now. I have no idea, why Questlove would say, well, it's a sticky situation, unless you know some other stuff as well. You see what I'm saying? And again, it is an industry. It's an industry, and it's an industry that has protected R. Kelly. Meanwhile, folks in the chat room, they will badger you for eating meat. Okay? I mean, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just being real. They will badger you for eating meat or throwing a styrofoam cup on the ground. And don't get me wrong, I do believe in, let's keep on working to preserve this rock we're floating on, all right, this molten lava. But that being said, though, these are, in a sense, the cookie cardboard guilt trippers who are celebrities who will sit there all day and lecture to you about how to live your lifestyle with your income level. And I bring that up for a reason, because many of these people will tell you all day, you should be doing it, you should be doing it, don't say that. But then you say, oh, well, let's bring a pedophile out, and I can't do that. Again, so that's the hypocrisy right there, because, look, the extent of your justice seeking goes no further than your wallet, no further than your peers, no further than the industry you're looking to stay in. Let's just keep it real about that.
Oh, absolutely. I don't care about anybody's skill set when you're a pedophile. This is exactly why you have the stats be as bad as it is about young girls being touched. What is it, 1 out of 3 or 1 out of 4, something like that?
I believe it's 1 out of 3. Especially with the black girls, it's even higher. It's a ridiculous number.
Yeah, they said that black girls are touched the most out of any group of girls, and also women. Mm-hmm. And again, we see the excuses all the time. People have to stop being scared and stop trying to coin everything to white women. You talk about black women getting raped. Oh, white liberal women, they're trying to get you separate you. You talk about domestic violence. Oh, white women, they're trying to get us. You talk about underage girls being trafficked and different. White women. It's the white women. It's the white women agenda. No, it's not. No, it's not. saying something is the white woman agenda when you're talking about defending little girls from getting raped and getting trafficked by people within their community, a lot of times their own parents, because people forget in sex trafficking, a lot of times you do have parents who be tricking off their children for the money. But everybody wants to talk about the white liberal agenda, the white woman agenda pertaining to protecting young black girls. It's disgusting.
It is. You might as well drop a bomb on that one, Sam. Go ahead and drop a bomb for yourself. There you go. You got it.
If I can find it.
Yeah, you can drop a bomb for yourself. I have really nothing else to add on. You've quantified it effectively. You know how I am about these celebrities, and we've had our run in with many of them. And I mean, I'm telling you, the level of hypocrisy is about the size of Mount Everest. I mean, damn, you're gonna talk about me and PETA. You won't get rid of the pedophile. You gonna tell me about PETA, but what about the pedophiles? So I'm not all that surprised, to be honest with you. And again, one more round of applause for John Legend. You know what I'm saying? Holding it down. John Legend ain't scared, man. He ain't no scared Negro. That's what I like about him. He ain't scared. John Legend got a rifle in that piano. Don't have John Legend come around here and make things right. But again, for whatever reason, and let's keep in mind, you all, can we just preface this correctly? Let's keep in mind, this is a 15-year artistically regressed R. Kelly that these celebtards are hiding. Because if you ain't saying it what it is, you're hiding it. Look, Vince Staples, I'm not talking about Vince Mensa. What was his name? Vic Mensa, whatever it is. Vince Staples, he said what he said. He said, I think R. Kelly's trash and he can't read, blah, blah, blah. He went on, and you still had industry insiders telling him, well, now's not the place and time for that. I said, let the young lion speak. That's the problem. All you old, washed up, toothless lions with your snagglepuss teeth talking about, don't say this, don't say that, I can't do that. But you can get on Twitter and lecture somebody about a goddamn chinchilla coat.
And you're absolutely right about that, Princess CC. What you don't understand with your obtuseness is it don't matter. Mm-hmm. Black women have Black Girl Magic. They have Afrotech. You have Blavity. They don't give a fuck about what you have to say, and they're gonna keep moving. And R. Kelly will be gotten. Make no mistake about that. He will end up behind bars or something else, but it's going to happen because black women are acquiring more power. And you should not be co-signing somebody who molests young girls in a part of sex trafficking rings and who was caught on tape with underage girls. That whole thing with them obtuse bobblehead Gen Xers. Yeah. And baby boomers, some of the women that overly was protecting men that were messing with their daughters and their nieces and stuff like that. Those days are coming closer and closer to an end. And you're having more and more women comprehend that no grown man should be touching little girls.
Hey, you know what? This is a beautiful thing about it. I want us to go ahead and go to the phone lines. And quit lying, fool. I would love for you to call in. He says, here Prince go again. Here Prince Solomon go again. Simping again. Scared to address the black woman's accountability issues. Did your father pay child support? Let's start there. Accountability. All right? Why didn't that nut stain just lay on the sheet like it should have? I want you to call in, quit lying, fool, and I would love to have a dialogue with you, Playboy, because apparently that is more important than the sexual assaulted victims. So let's go ahead. We're going to open that phone line to the people who know the number and own the number. Y'all can drop it in the chat room. Shouts out to some of the people out there that keep holding us down. Again, shouts out to King Jaffe. Shouts out to Black Peace. Shouts out to Michelle, Ashley, Zim. Shouts out to Superior. Shouts out to Miss Liz Martin. Shouts out to you, player. And we always gonna keep on moving this thing forward. Y'all know me, I ain't scared of nothing or nobody except the pole shifting. And neither is Sid, you know what I'm saying? So that's why we ride together, we fly together, we get high together. Allegedly. I know the Alphabet Boys are listening. But again, if you have a problem with what we stated or if you are in agreement, please call in. Quit lying, fool. Get up off the Twitter finger stuff and call in, Playboy.
Also, the number is 281-899-0392 for anybody who wants to know, and I'll top it in the chat room. What's up, Grenville?
Hey, what's up? When has it been cool to fucking protect pedophiles? I like to know.
Hey, man, you know what? It is what it is, but apparently that's the trend, player. You know what it is. It's the Grandview, get in line, man. Go find your local pedophile and shield him or her.
Oh no, some of my family, I just don't fuck with them. I don't fuck with them or collaborators. It's that simple. If you gotta cover something that messy up, talking about, well, you know, the same old excuse, well, I didn't know, but the people who was involved in it, who got victimized, will tell you very vivid details that they told them and everything else. But this whole dusty hotep Negro energy that motherfuckers do, and they don't got the same energy for white people or cops. Let's keep it a real G. Most of these motherfuckers, when it comes to white people, all of a sudden they become real timid. Don't say anything. Hey, you know, I don't want to lose my job. Nigga, you was going to lose it regardless. You better go out swinging. Let's keep it a buck.
Yeah.
For once and for all. He has dirt on all of them. That's why they're not talking.
Facts.
That's why they're not talking.
I'm not even from New York.
You know,
Facts.
when we saw Lady Gaga, she did a video, "Do Whatever You Want."
Yeah,
and she was trying to be cute, like, "Oh, look at the controversy. I'm even performing with R. Kelly."
Yeah.
You know, and she came out here this year talking about, oh, she's for victims and men and women and children who've been assaulted. Yet in 2014 and 13, you made a weird track that seems like you like to fuck young black girls called "Do Whatever You Want," allegedly. You know, and it's interesting.
Look, Sincere, let's be honest. I bought R. Kelly's albums, you know, after even the sex tape came out and everything else. But what really did it for me, when they had that op piece and they broke it down what he did in Chicago, that lengthy history.
Talk about
He'll go back to schools, did not mess with the juniors or seniors. He messed with the freshmen and sophomores.
Hold on now.
Waited out in the parking lot for these kids.
Hold on, Granville. Hold it. Wait a minute now. And again, have we not been familiar with the fact with what was alleged in court is that some of the victims were as young as 12 and 13-year-old.
Yeah, he paid them off because that's where the whole debate with him and Sparkle came about. Because it was rumors that he messed with her niece or goddaughter or something like that. And that's how they had a falling out. He claimed it was for other reasons and everything else because she had a hit record. And everybody wondered how you go from having a hit record to all of a sudden disappearing.
You know why?
He claims that, because she wanted to go to another producer. That's false because Aaliyah left him after her first album and she found Timberland and Missy. So what's going on? But this whole thing about like protecting pedophiles, everything else, nigga, you a pedophile. There ain't shit you could say. Get the fuck out of here. Go die slow. Because what it is, a lot of these celebrities, because we live in New York, they have that funny ass energy. People, they're opportunists. They're opportunists. Don't believe them. I reached out to you guys and told you about there's a video online called Grunge where they broke down the music industry. Most of these motherfuckers are broke. They don't make money off their music. They have to tour. And that's why they always selling you shit. It's a book. It's a movie. It's some kind of perfume. They're frauds. They're fucking frauds. When they come around, you want to talk about... They don't care about economics. Long as it benefits them, they don't care about the collective. And this whole thing that Jay-Z's doing, he's doing what he's always done. He's trying to stay hot with the times and trying to be relevant. Stop falling for the okie doke. He's a great rapper. That's it. He's not a great businessman. Because a lot of you guys don't know, they have business managers. They bring them deals to tell them what's good and what's not good. It's false. It's category false. Somebody like a LeBron James is rare because he's in it day in and day out, where he has people around him telling him what to do. But all this bullshit, liberal agenda, no, it's a fucking moral issue. Because when somebody touches your kid or your daughter, your niece, or whoever that you're close to, is that going to be a liberal agenda as well?
Well, you know what? They're not going to be online because they're going to be trying to kill the person. They're going to be someone trying to kill them.
Look, that happened to one of my friend's brothers. He got touched and they said they didn't go to the cops. They just said, "Hey, where the guy lives," and they handled it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
They handled it.
Hey man, I was a part of a situation where we caught somebody doing something in the parking lot in front of some school boys and girls that was waiting by the bus stop. And I tell you what, man, they drugged homeboy up out of that car and treated his face like stump. Kirk Franklin, are you with me?
Yeah, but this whole thing about like, oh, I don't want to talk about it, he has dirt on all of them. That's why nobody wants to touch it.
Thank you.
Because if he released a book of all these people, every one of them is going to go down. Because it's no different. This stays on subject with the whole Drake and Kanye beef.
Mm-hmm.
Because they like recently did an interview. He's like, yo, this whole rap shit is false.
Mm-hmm.
He said the whole thing is false. He's like, Offset was a dancer for Whitney Houston back in the day.
Yeah, I saw the video. I could not
I was like,
believe
what?
I could not believe what my dirty glasses was seeing when I looked online and Offset
You know
was
what?
up there
I
dancing.
think that's probably why Offset don't talk as much, cause to try to make it believable that he's, this thug who,
He ain't no thug.
who can't talk.
You a-
I bet you,
you an industry baby.
I bet you,
You a childhood star.
He may even speaks the Queen English if he really dropped the book.
Hear he, Cardi of B, will you be with me?
That's why it's funny because I was talking to somebody about Lil Wayne. He's like, he's a gangster and everything. I was like, my nigga, he's been in the industry since he was 9 years old.
Talk about
what
it.
Gang affiliation does he have?
Can we wait a minute?
Baby Fon-
Granville, before you continue, you and I, we are real hip hop historians. You remember the storyline of Lil Wayne. His mama
Yes.
wouldn't let him rap unless he got his ass back on the honor roll.
Yes.
No
Yeah,
gangster.
pretty much.
Not a gangster.
No, I mean, but like I said, they have to sell you that bullshit image.
Yeah.
Baby found him at like 9 to 12 years old, and he's been with Cash Money ever since.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since. But a lot of people, like I said, a lie is better than truth. Your man Titty Boy has his master's, graduated magna cum laude. So my thing is like, how thorough, how tough of a thug can you be? I've had people in Houston, in H-Town, tell me, yeah, Lil Wayne used to come through here all the time, going to SMU to get his degree.
In psychology. I'm telling
Surprise, surprise.
Hey, man, come on now. I know this stuff, man. I know it like the back of my hand. Man, I'm telling you, like, you guys got to understand this whole music game, this industry game, that's what it is. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And that's what Granville is saying. People changing jerseys for the game. That's it. That's all that's going on, baby. It ain't really much to figure out.
But when he said, Cardi, he said, yo, look, the whole thing is bullshit. He said from day one, it's bullshit. He said Cardi B was a ring girl. I'm like, for some underground rap battle. And the guy's like, you bullshit me. He said, go look it up online. And he said, sure enough, there she is.
Well, you know what
She's a plant.
You know what they did, but oh, come on, man. We ain't gonna even talk about the garden. Because if we talking about plants, the whole thing looking like a garden, Olive Garden. Yeah. But you know what? To keep it real, I mean, that's even the whole likes of the Tekashi situation. A lot of people, they didn't understand that, the Grange family, Elliot and Lucius Grange, had him touring in Russia, and they was trying to build him off as an alternative heavy metal rock type of dude. You know what I'm saying? With a little bit of rapping, some Zach De La Rocha energy, right? But then they just shifted him completely into rap music, and then there you go. You saw it. So it is what it is. I mean, again, that's no excuse, despite the marketing of these personalities, because that's all they're selling is personalities. Despite the marketing, there's no need to circumvent, sexually assaulted victims, especially black girls, black women in that space. And too many times it's been just a comfortable norm in the culture to do. Like even the whole joking about the girl being 16 years old, one of the sexually assaulted victims, during the time of the R. Kelly situation, everybody flipped it like she should have made a decision.
Well, though, music history-wise, just not to contain it just in modern R&B and hip-hop.
Yeah.
But a lot of people have got used to listening to music about teenage girls being fucked.
Yeah.
Iggy Pop talked about fucking a 13-year-old girl. The Rolling Stones, like they all
have it. It's
you
all
know,
in the
people
music.
think it's okay to
Chuck
have
Berry.
sex with they think it's okay to have sex with a teenage girl.
Disgusting. Oh, you're 15 years old. Oh,
You
you're
know,
12.
Elvis married
Priscilla.
Priscilla at
15.
15.
Well, you know, Elvis Presley was throwing pajama parties for 13-year-olds at his little mansion, Graceland. And then he had them kissing each other. And there are documented accounts of this, that he had a little pedo party. He was another one, too. Oh, y'all underage?
Well, that's why it's funny when they were talking about hip-hop and misogyny. I'm like, if we're going to talk about misogyny, you might as well go after the big-headed monster, which is Hollywood.
Well,
nobody's more misogynist than Hollywood.
Yeah.
That's why I laugh at women when I'm like, yo, you know, like a lot of these beauty magazines catered to your insecurities more than anything else.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this guy who worked at Sephora, he said, yeah, it does. He said, now I'm thinking about it. I was like, yeah, it does. Because most of these women do not look at like the average woman.
You know,
they're thin, they're size 0.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you know what they do also, Granville? Let's keep this in perspective now. You know, of course, you mentioned the entertainment history, but it also started with politics. It started in our government because through the entertainment industry, look how they normalized the normalization of pedophilia. Look how they rewrote the story of Thomas Jefferson and Sally Hemings. You know, with
13-year-old girl.
Yeah, she was 13, but they had her being played by the sister, the half sister that played the villain in the Chronicles of Riddick.
Well, another issue.
What was her name?
I can't remember her name
I
right now.
can say her name, but they had her, but they portrayed Sally Hemings as this adult woman that was having an affair.
Well, that's why I don't like the Betwitch thing, because there were people talking about Sally as a Betwitch. I'm like, you're talking about a fucking 13-year-old girl and a 60-year-old man.
She was a sex slave.
And who was related to him,
too.
Yeah,
he was related to her.
And she was biracial.
So, yeah, he was related to that little 13-year-old girl, Sally Hemings. Here you had you had Thomas Jefferson, a disgusting, melting, old, pale face, having sex with a 13-year-old slave.
I mean, but it started with Christopher Columbus and even with John Smith and Pocahontas. And when you hear the stories from the Native Americans, they're like, nah, they're like, John Smith was nasty. Pocahontas didn't want to be with them.
Nah,
There's the whole thing about whitewashing history, which I tell people is very dangerous, because even when George, the first Bush died, somebody, when I was like, well, condolences to his family, but, his policies were problematic. Oh, it's not the right time to bring it up. I was like, this is why we have these Confederate statues.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're all, but you got to understand this. That's just this whole country was like, it's built on pedophilia. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, you think Thomas Jefferson was the only one messing around with 13-year-old girls, 14-year-old girls? Remember now, they were doing that to the boys too, because when you're a slave, you're sexually accosted on all levels. You're at the mercy of your master or a master. So what we saw routinely was the likes of the Ben Franklins, the George Washingtons, the Alexander Hamiltons, the Alexander Dumas. All of these individuals were having sex with underage children. Well, underage, slaves. You know what I'm saying?
They show that in not 12 Years of Slavery. What's that one with Nate Parker?
Oh,
Birth of a Nation.
Birth of a Nation.
Goodbye, Uncle Tom is a better film.
Oh, I can't sit and watch through Goodbye, Uncle Tom.
That's reality.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really hard. It's really hardcore.
It's reality.
Yeah, and that's what it is. Like, at the end of the day, I tell people this, and this ties with everything. I like Trump being president because he represents Ralph Wiggums and the Simpsons. Mm-hmm. Completely clueless, completely dumb. And somebody said something recently, and I was like, if he had a half a brain, he would have pardoned all those people who would have been investigated. So basically, they would have had anything to investigate them. But what you see with him, even with him with the pedophilia and the Robert Epstein and everything else.
Oh, yeah. You better believe. Let's keep it real, because Sid and I, we were the first ones to say it on this channel, on our live streams. We said the reason why they have not moved on R. Kelly was because R. Kelly is sitting on an arsenal of names.
Data. They
He's
say
sitting on data.
There's girls getting trafficked in Atlanta, Chicago, Houston, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's a big part of that whole networking going on there.
Yeah, you got some of your favorite people in and out of the pedophile circle. I mean, you saw what happened, right? You saw they was trying to hush up that whole Bryan Singer incident, and they did successfully. You know what I'm saying? So that's just what it is.
look at Corey. I think who's the one that's with him? Corey Feldman or Hayes? Which one that's alive right now?
Corey Feldman.
All right. Remember, he said he's gonna release a documentary and everything else, and they shut him up real quick.
Oh yeah.
About what was going on.
Yeah.
So these people don't fall for the fake, morally conscious, whether it's Ebro, Rosenberg, and all those guys. Because I'm like, you had all that smoke for Kodak Black, but when Mike Tyson's up there, you was kissing his ass from here to Timbuktu.
You already know. Talk about it. We appreciate you, Granville, calling in.
His ass will get beat. Thank you, Granville.
Boy,
for
that's the
calling in.
most I ever heard Granville curse. Shouts out to Granville.
Call a name and where you're from.
Irvin Griffin from Bluefield, West Virginia.
Oh, what's up,
What's
Irvin
up,
Griffin?
man? What's up?
Hey, man. Hey, first, before we get into R. Kelly, one quick thing. The very first subject that you discussed about the black girl, the black woman, the McDonald's worker, and that one white dude, all I got to say is, whoo, she put them hands on him, and justifiably so.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Justifiably so.
Facts.
I mean, and by the way, there's a rumor going around about her getting fired from McDonald's. Let me say, from what I've checked out so far, and I'm sure you guys, you do your research, you checked it out too, she has not been fired.
No.
The guy, on the other hand, has been arrested for assault.
That's appropriate. You know, they should promote her to head of security.
Oh, shut up.
Well, she looked like she could handle herself, little 5 foot nothing. But hey, I'm like, hey, if you can shoot, hey, Bruce Lee wasn't a big man either. Look how many asses he used to whip.
You read about that one, man? No doubt about that. So what's on your mind, Irvin, man?
Yeah. Now to the R. Kelly thing, I think you and the previous caller had already said this, but the only reason no one has moved in on R. Kelly, especially the celebs, even though they know they should, is because he's probably got stuff on them too.
Oh, and also
Jay-Z. I mean, let's
just real quick.
let's look at a few of the names.
Yeah, go ahead.
Jay-Z.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, Jay-Z. If rumor has it, he was banging Foxy Brown when she was underage, and some say he was already eyeing his now wife Beyonce when she was like 17. Mary J. Blige. Let's be honest. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love her music. And everything. But let's be honest. She was no little saint either. They say not only KC and Case, we know about them, but there was rumors about Tretch. There was rumors even before he got killed. Tupac may have seen that tale. So yeah, he's probably got stuff on a lot of them. Dave Chappelle. I've even heard stories on Chris Rock. All kinds of stuff. Because as you've been saying, pedophilia and just sexual deviancy in general is rampant in Hollywood. But getting on R. Kelly though, R. Kelly has slowly, music-wise, I haven't listened to him in years. And usually when I do play anything, it's usually the real old stuff, even before 12 Play. Y'all remember back in the day, Born into the 90s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And even there was a little clue. What was it, Vibe? Where they was naming all them women, and he says in it, little cute Aaliyah's got it. Then he said that he was talking about her.
Yeah, well, Aaliyah is not necessarily, it wasn't really all that much of a common name, but another thing, because Sin had unearthed some footage that I hadn't seen before, because I don't.
With R. Kelly?
When it was R. Kelly and Aaliyah sitting down, and the two co-hosts were interviewing them as if they both were grown. And they were talking about there's rumors that you two may be
dating.
Yeah,
and they thought it was cool. That's what I'm saying. Like that Gen X, baby boomer, before baby boomer, like all those generations thought there was a large segment of them that thought it was okay for little kids to get fucked. And that's exactly why I'm feeling more so this generation right now that's like, stop it. Like, we do have people in Hollywood who is going after it, but it's people who have no connection to R. Kelly, like Ava DuVernay, Lupita Nyong'o, John Legend, that are coming out and supporting Dreamhampton with this docuseries. But like you said, the ones who've been connected to R. Kelly, the ones who did records with him, the ones who either ignored it or the ones who participated, those are the ones that are keeping quiet right now. You know,
and you know what?
even and then some of them were
Mm-hmm.
even stupid enough to ferociously defend him, like Lil Kim and Erykah Badu.
Yeah, with all that shit hanging out her lip. I don't know what the hell Erykah Badu be doing. You got a whole coat hanger hanging out your lip, ma'am. It is distracting. You know, and another thing about it too.
Yeah, Erykah Badu is regressed, by the way, over the years.
Man, she ain't been the same since she done got naked in the street like a homeless person. Now, you know what's crazy about it though? I actually knew two ladies who had family members that were accosted by R. Kelly, interestingly enough, at a McDonald's in Chicago. So, I mean, if people think it's BS, talk to some of the people in the city of Chicago. They know about R. Kelly. That's a fact.
And thank you, man, for calling in, too.
Yeah, I've heard some stories. I even got one friend, I won't say his name, but I got one friend that has heard some stories, too. He is from Chicago.
Yeah, so come on now, let's keep it real. Irvin, man, we appreciate you so much, player, a strong supporter, been there since day one. He sure has, man. Peace, King. You know, shoot, you know. And again, when y'all get a chance, Irvin, you can, you know, at the very least, let people know the name of your show in the chat room. By the way, you can just type the name in, but Irvin has a very wonderful show that he does. And shouts out to the big homie Jobs and Nerd Soul and so forth. And we're still accepting calls just to let people know the lines are still open.
And all those who are saying there's a broad stroke about generations, it's not a broad stroke. You know, baby boomers saw Elvis marry a 15-year-old. They didn't give a fuck. I mean, they saw Aaliyah and R. Kelly. The Gen Xers saw them on BT, and a grown-ass woman and a grown-ass man asked them both, are y'all in a relationship? And they knew that girl was 15 years old. So, yes, people have been very comfortable with it.
Wasn't she 14? She was 14.
She was probably
and I think
14.
Elvis Presley, his girl was 12 at the time.
Well, when he was dating her, but 15
13.
when he married her.
Yeah, come on.
Love Wisdom, what's up?
What's up, family? Happy New Year. How y'all doing?
Happy New Year's. We doing good.
So let me start with R. Kelly first and tie this into the McDonald's situation. A lot of people knew about R. Kelly. If you listen to his songs, it seems like you're ready. He never mentioned a woman. Always a girl, little cutie. So you can kind of tell this man was a little bit off, but most of us listen to him because he made good music. Okay? At the end of the day, R. Kelly is a pedophile. He is nasty. He is disgusting. And for people that continue to defend him, I question your sanity and wonder what kind of family bullshit that you're hiding at home, because you cannot defend this type of sexual deviant behavior. And for our people to try to find a white equivalent to the bullshit, please stop doing that. Stop moving the goalposts to make yourself feel better by saying, well, we got Roman Polanski, we got Gene Simmons, we got Hollywood. Fuck that. I'm not concerned about them. I'm concerned about people like R. Kelly, the uncles, the fathers, the grandparents, the brothers, the sons, the mamas, the grandmothers, all of those who have either sexually molested children or have sat there and did not defend those children when it happened. You can't hate the white man on one point, but then want to use him as a scapegoat to hide your own bullshit. Stop doing that. If we don't handle these issues on the home front, it's never going to be handled. You're no different than white people that do it. Which leads me to what happened to McDonald's. Sisters, we have to protect ourselves. Okay? Brothers are not going to always be around. You're going to have to knock up. Okay? You have to knock up, strap up, and get your shit together. All this, well, black men don't protect me. Stop listening to these dusty niggas and niggerettes online who got mommy and daddy issues telling you, well, black men don't protect black women, and black women don't deserve our protection. Stop listening to these people online, because at the end of the day, if you want to make it a quote-unquote gender issue, let's start with the sisters. You can't bitch about protection, but you say the black man ain't shit, but you want protection. Brothers, you can't say the black woman ain't worth your protection, but demand that she give you respect. Y'all can't have it both ways. Cut the bullshit. Cut it out. And with that said, I love y'all. I'm heading to the gym. I'm out.
All right now. There you go.
Applause for Love Wisdom on that.
With the blinker going on. Love Wisdom was going off, and she put the emergency headlights on.
Damn, Sam, son,
Remix.
where'd you find this?
That's what I'm talking about. Love Wisdom, a.k.a. AK-47. She handled it well, man, and we pretty much agree with everything she said. You know, just cut through all of that. Cut through all the smog, man.
You know, it's like anti-white people, white men, but then you use white men to be a deflection piece to defend dudes who are molesting little girls.
Yeah, come on now.
Caller, name me where you're from.
Yo, this Sal from calling from Chicago.
Uh-oh.
What's up?
Uh-oh, we calling from Chicago.
Hey.
Come on with it.
Well, let me give you a little background on this. The high school they talking about is Kenwood High School. And when I was in high school, I used to see R. Kelly come up there in the green Jeep Cherokee with rims on it, like flashy than a motherfucker. He would always park outside and just holler at all the females. You know what I'm saying? And people were like, and seeing this right in that era, you was hyped up about seeing a celebrity. Like, oh shit, R. Kelly outside, y'all. R. Kelly, girls would just, go in the bathroom, fix themselves up, and go out there and try to get shows. You know what I'm saying? It was an era where it was so many grown men coming to pick up girls in my high school, though. It wasn't just R. Kelly, and I'm not just trying to defend them. Like, damn near all the fine girls with asses in the high school had grown men coming to pick them up. So, again, I can't defend R. Kelly's behavior, but you hit a nerve when you said that was from that generation. Are y'all still with me?
Yo, man, we still with you.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
all the generations,
that was from that generation. So even girls like, today they was super grown back then. They was coming, they was like, you a little boy. You would try to have me like, you a little boy. I date grown men. You know what I'm saying? They was on that.
Well, that
so
part,
again, I can't.
But that part,
go ahead. I can't defend it, but it was a different era.
To me, I don't care what the high school girls are doing, because when you have a society that co-signs people who aren't even mentally mature, their hormones is going out of whack,
raging
all over the place.
Niagara Falls.
Mentally, they said your brain fully develops by the time you even turn 25, although you are a legal adult at 18.
With half a brain.
So whether they were dressing grown or whatever, it's the adults' fault what happens in that situation. And also, it's up to a community to be like, you're going to put this man in prison while also taking that little girl and bringing her home and educating her.
Education.
Because just like what we saw Prince sent me a video that was funny. These two girls were trying to twerk on Instagram.
Yeah.
Mother came in
with
the slipper.
Get your ass out that camera.
But at the same time, the situation would change, though. If a grown man decided to touch those girls, it don't matter what they're doing, he has to go to prison.
Real quick, caller, I want to add something too, because and I'm glad you called in from Chicago, because see, the problem is there's a national epidemic, there's a global epidemic, but the people don't want to move past R. Kelly. Like, you got everybody that they from Washington D.C., they from New York, they from Texas, they from Cali, leave R. Kelly alone. But everybody I've talked to from Chicago and partners I know even going through Chicago told me from the jump about R. Kelly. I had folks that grew up with R. Kelly that were older than me, and they were letting me know then that something was up. And to your point, real quick, caller, I know what you're talking about, because in high school, when I called myself at the time trying to, try to talk to some of the ladies, and they told me, I be talking to older men and this, that, and the third. But you got to keep in mind, too, you had the brothers walking around talking about, man, I had a chance, I had laid with an older lady. I was fucking a math teacher and things like that. You got to understand, like, children and adolescents, teenagers, their hormones are raging. They're fascinated with sex. They're fascinated with their body growing.
Most of them have crushes on older people.
Come on, man. And the thing about it, you have adults who take advantage of this moment of their lives and try to pass it off as a ritualistic process to growth, when really it's just sexual abuse. You feel me?
It's always, I definitely feel you. I think it's, it was gym teachers, it's coaches, it's staff at the school sleeping with these girls. It was a whole situation. You know what I'm saying? And I think Chicago is a city. It's just kind of like a poverty-stricken thing when you got like people just, trying to get a buck, and you got women who would tell their daughters, a wet pussy and a dry purse don't make no sense. Quotes like that.
Yeah, I've heard that
lead to
shit
this kind of
before.
stuff.
I've heard that shit. That
You know what I'm saying?
incredibly ignorant shit.
That's some ignorant stuff. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just I'm glad that we live in a different time where these kind of things get brought to light. But I mean, to sometimes judge people on 1996 standards, it's a little difficult. But you know what I'm saying? But I like you say with Jay-Z and Foxy thing, but it was 1996, and people turned a blind eye to that. I mean, it was just kind of like wrong is wrong. But I can't defend it, but I gotta say it was a different time, and you had to be there. See, I'm 40 years old. I graduated high school in '96. I was there. You know what I'm saying? So I was there when it wasn't a big deal.
Well, but
so
the thing
to
is, the
kind
laws,
of prosecute
though,
them now when it is a big deal, it's kind of like, wow, but it wasn't a big deal 20 years ago.
There always should be prosecution because even at that time, it was still against the law. It was against the law, and people still did it because they wanted to, and people turned a blind eye because they wanted to defend their uncle or their cousin or their auntie. Oh, he's the best coach. We don't want to get rid of him. In the law, it said you cannot be with someone who's under 18, and you had a few states that will allow you to be with someone if they were 17. And we're talking about most of these people messing with girls between the ages of 13 and 16 anyway, so they didn't even go to be able to slide by with the 17-year-old.
And to be honest with you, look, here's the thing about it, caller. I definitely... I see where you're coming from as far as the era, but, again, right is right, wrong is wrong.
And those laws were there.
Yeah, and the thing is, too, moving forward, I mean, to be honest with you, player, it really ain't changed. It's just now you have more effective voices online.
People getting caught.
But but people are still fucking little girls. People still fucking little boys. I know when I was younger, because I had hair coming on my face early. I had grown women rub on me talking about, you ready to take some pussy now?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm
you
just
don't
saying.
talk about your sister friend.
Yeah.
When you're 10 years old, they be like, he my boyfriend. He my boyfriend.
Yeah, when I was.
And they do that.
Yeah.
And
When I was.
you 7 years old and they 11 and 12 and they talking about they fighting over each other. Talking about he my boyfriend.
See, and that's the normalization.
Women do
of
it too.
But see, for me, it's the normalization of, even though statistically the predators of that space are men more so, but still nonetheless there's a sexualization. There's a sexualizing of children. Because I know when I was 12 years old, I had to go stay with my pops, but there's one lady that was, the daughter of a lady he was dating at the time. It was a 27-year-old. She used to go, "Oh, you so cute, you so cute." I thought she was joking until she actually tried to fuck me. I was like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? And she thought nothing of it. What she said to me, "I'm making a man of you." You see what I'm saying? So this is something that's normal. Even when we look at the Bow Wow videos, look at the old Bow Wow videos. You had grown women shaking their ass in his face. You had grown men rapping.
Licking his face with his tongue.
Yeah, but you had grown men rapping next to him, like thinking that shit was cool.
My thing also is no ethnic group can claim to have a higher morality than the other, white, black, Asian, whatever. When all these cultures, a large segment of them think it's okay to touch children.
Yeah, so it's the thing is it's the sexualizing of the children, and we just got to keep it real.
Black people, we hold a certain space, though. You got to realize where we come from. We were sex farmed. We've been over sex from day one. You know what I'm saying? So we have a different sexual history in this country. You know what I'm saying? Dating back to slavery on up, where we had no choice. So our sexual history in America is unlike no other, and we have to consider that. You know what I mean? If we have to consider what we were taught sexually by the people who taught us and trained us.
But those people
you know
also,
what I'm saying? The slave masters, we have to go there.
Those people who brought those techniques were also doing those techniques in Europe before slavery, the Atlantic slave trade happened. Romans raped 13-year-old girls in the British Isles, and also throughout Europe. They raped 13-year-old girls. They had sex with 13-year-old girls to the point where even young boys were getting raped in the street. Those practices were implemented during the Atlantic slave trade. They didn't begin to do that stuff during the slave trade. They was doing that stuff before the slave trade.
I
they
know,
brought
but
it over.
I got you saying, but they started doing it to us. Is what I'm saying. We got introduced to that, and we were the main, victims of that for probably the last, several hundred years. That's been us. Like, black sexuality has been victimized. Like, I don't really necessarily know the words to put it, but I'm just trying to say that, you know, they've been taking it to us there sexually since we got here.
I mean, I agree
And
with
we
that.
have
I
to
agree with
account
that
that.
portion of what you said in the last, 500 years. I agree with that part.
Yeah, I mean, it is the truth. It is
Go
the
ahead.
truth. No,
Go
no,
ahead.
I
I'm
was
just gonna say one
no.
more
All I was
point and
going to
I'm out.
say is, but we got to keep in mind about sexual dysfunctionality in the community now.
There you
see
go.
what I'm saying? Because there was a guy that was trying to rape my brother. You know what I'm saying? And my mother at the time was dating, and once she found out, she got rid of him. You see what I'm saying? So, I mean, yeah, I understand the historical context of it, but at the same time, those arbitrators and those predators must be prosecuted, and we have to show examples. We have to make examples of people who are sexual predators within the community.
Yeah, because you see what happens when predatory behavior there isn't lock on it. I mean, look at India. For example, the country is pretty shitty. I know they have economic growth and different things like that, but you got 16-year-old girls getting gangbanged by 16 men on a bus. You have
14-year-olds.
African girls who visiting in India to go study, getting acid thrown on their face and
They
getting
set
beat
them on
up.
fire.
You got girls in the Sudan who get raped during their marriage at the age of 12 to a grown-ass 40-year-old.
And genital mutilation. Genital mutilation, too.
They show that when there's not more of a balance between man and woman, the more regressive mentally, even in science, the civilization is. So when there's more of a balance, not perfect, but more of a balance, you have societies that are again more astute, societies that actually are faster paced, because even with the problems in the United States that we're talking about, it's still better than certain parts of the world where you see it's times 10 and you see how regressive they are. So it's very important for people to also understand that as well. For a culture, you have to have more of a balance between men and women if you want that society to grow and prosper.
Absolutely. But I'll say this last thing, and I'll take your response off air. I've been from Chicago. I had a chance to meet and be in R. Kelly's presence on several different occasions and just kind of observe him. He is a narcissist and a sleazeball. You know what I mean? He's very narcissistic, and just overall, I don't think he's a person of high moral character. So I can't defend him in any way. But at the same time, I want to ask you this, and I'll take it off air. Where's the space for a black man who took something to trial and beat it, and still is convicted in the space of public opinion? And I'll take your answer off air.
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. For me, he's not an innocent black man because he was caught on tape. That was a technicality because they acquired that information without getting a warrant. So he only got acquitted on technicality, even though it was actually him.
It's kind of like Mark Furman in the O.J. Simpson trial.
And if he was a broke black man, he wouldn't have had a good enough lawyer to get him off on that technicality. He would have went to prison for actually being caught with underage girls.
You talking about if he was a part of Broke Black Mountain?
Yes. Now, if he went through the court system and they acquitted him because they said, oh, man, that wasn't him, that really was somebody else, or whatever, then that would have been different because we watched the trial closely. What happened is he was guilty, but he got acquitted off of a technicality. And let's not forget, he also married Aaliyah at 15. Now,
wait, talk about that part again. Is that on paper?
That's a factual document. Now, let's say that never happened. Let's say he never married Aaliyah. He had this trial, and it wasn't the videotape. I would have been like, I can't speak on this because there's no videotape.
Yeah.
There's no document of him marrying a 15-year-old girl who was actually 14 at the time.
She was 14.
But she tried to pop up her age, and he tried to lower his age. But let's say those things didn't exist, then I could say, okay, let's wait and see. But since the video is there, since the document of the marriage is there, he's guilty, and there's really not much to say. He needs to go to prison, or at the very least, all of his sources of income need to be challenged. That's why I agree with Ava DuVernay and a lot of the black women in Hollywood that aren't hypocrites that did a mute R. Kelly. I agree with that action.
Yeah, you know what the crazy part is, is look, y'all, man, I'm telling you, Like, I don't even get to, and it's unfortunate what happened with the young girls who were also a part of a sex ring. Let's keep in mind, their parents were pawning them off to R. Kelly. All right, which happens with a lot of celebrities. Parents actually build these women up, or these little girls up, to be sold off as women. It was alleged that the whole JonBenet Ramsey situation was a part of a pedophile ring as well. I mean, if you go look at the...
Oh, yeah, what happened to the little girl? That's what they said. They said that's a possibility.
But the thing that I always find funny, even the people in the defense of R. Kelly, we always tend to overlook that he married Aaliyah. Like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? One of the greatest R&B singers of our contemporary time, right? You know, but still, nonetheless, the girl was 13 when she was accosted by the likes of R. Kelly, 14 when they linked up. The marriage license is all over the internet. It's not Photoshop, all right? And people, they talk around that. They have cultural amnesia when convenient, and they want to defend R. Kelly because at the time he was dating a girl that was 18. So I think to me, that's a little weird that we always negate the fact that he did marry Aaliyah at 14.
And before I swing it over to Open Mind, the thing I will say on this, I don't see a black man when you're a pedophile. I see you as a fucking monster. Mm-hmm. I don't see you as somebody I need to defend or protect against racism or this or that. You're a fucking pedophile. You're disgusting. It'll be the same thing if it was a grown woman touching a little boy. I'm not seeing you as a black woman. You're not my sister. You're not somebody I'm fuck with. You're somebody who need to be in prison.
Real talk. You know what I'm saying? Also, to add on to this, look, I'm going to tell you how bad this shit is, y'all. I'm going to tell you how bad sexual dysfunction and sexual dysfunctionality is in this country. There was a grown woman. My brother had to be, how old was Ra? Ra had to be about fucking 13 years old. This is my little brother at the time. It was 3 years apart, I believe. 3 years apart. I don't know. He probably kicked my ass or tried to kick my ass if I misrun it. But he came home. He got out of the pool, came home, and a grown woman knocked on our door. This boy was 13. My brother was 13 at the time. This is how bold this sexual dysfunctionalism goes on in the community. This woman was about 36 years old. All right. Mind you, she had 3 children of her own, 3 little girls. But she knocked on the door and she asked my mother, "Ma'am, do you think is there any way that I could take your son out on a date?" My mother was trying to figure out, who are you talking to, baby? Like, both my sons are underage. She was like, "Oh, no, that one right there." And she pointed them out in the living room. Well, my mother tried to go upside that woman's head, knocking her all into the banister and shit. Get your nasty ass off these steps. But that's how bad it is, and she felt comfortable. You see what I'm saying? So, again, there's this comfort of sexual dysfunctionality in this culture and also sexual assault and pedophilia. Open Mind, big homie, is on the line. What's up?
Yo, y'all hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. Come on.
Hope y'all didn't hear me fussing at the kids earlier.
You know how it is.
First of all, fuck R. Kelly. Just want to say that starting off. But I think it's one little small detail we overlooking about people like R. Kelly and a lot of pedophiles in our generation of black folks that we grew up in. You know, your uncle touching your niece or your brothers. You know, some male in the family is touching somebody. The reason for that is because black folks don't have no representation. They don't give a fuck about young black girls getting molested or getting raped on. You know what I'm saying? If R. Kelly had did that shit to a white girl on tape pissing on her face, we wouldn't be here today having this conversation about him talking about 15 years too late. He would have got prosecuted immediately, especially with his face on camera. Because you know how they can catch us on camera and make us all look alike. I got dreads, but just because a man on camera with dreads was robbing the store don't mean I'm the motherfucker. But, you know, all y'all look alike couldn't know who the fuck the police officer is. It's because us black people, we don't have representation in the courthouse. We don't. They don't give a fuck about us. Because if you can, then you have the rich celebrities like y'all mentioned, Erica and Kim, that will still vouch for another rich celebrity. So that kind of validates him, or I can say validates him. It kind of like gets him off the case a little bit, depending on who is following Kim and who's following Erica. It's like depending on who stands next to you, sometimes, and it sucks, but sometimes can determine if you're innocent or guilty. Because of the person that's standing next to you, representing you, got your back, whatever the fuck. But I only see that in the black community where we don't get no justice for rape and pedophilia and molestation and a lot of this shit. Look at the Catholic Church.
There you go.
Just look at how they get down.
because they protected. That's the thing. It's not about some other community or white people that, like you said, Irish, Catholics, even other groups of people that are devout Catholics, they are okay with little boys being touched because they haven't done anything about it. In our community, a lot of the dudes have to be 100 and a lot of the women too. The only change that happened in the women was because of the millennial black girls that don't give a fuck about, oh, if you're a black man, I'm going to defend you even though you're touching a little girl. So it's only changed recently. But we have to keep it 100 that most of the people in our community think that shit is okay. And they even think it's also okay if a grown woman touch a little boy. Oh, well, he's going into manhood. So let's be honest. There are a lot of communities that are sick.
Yeah, you know what, another thing about it too, you know, even though that we do have, you know, these sisters and some of these brothers online that are active, it still doesn't necessarily evoke immediate protection. You know, somebody somewhere right now, underage little girl is still being molested and raped. There's an underage boy being assaulted. Again, so we got to keep that in mind. If we look at the rates of sexual deviancy, sexual assaults in the black community is actually pretty high. And I know a lot of church folk like to sit on it. I know a lot of broke tips and woke tips and no tips and slow tips and toe tips. They would like to hide it and try to make us, you know, our image is cleaner than the white man. No, first of all, it dials down for humility and humanity. You know, black people, we've done some incredible feats, right? But at the same time, predators, the predatorial spirit still exists nonetheless. So again, we have to keep that in mind, because I know for a fact the reason why I had so many rumbles with some of my fellow brothers is because it was just some shit I just wasn't going for open mind. You know how it is. You and I, we talked before off the phone. I'm like, Playboy, we ain't gonna do that. I told y'all about the story being in the studio with the underage girl. I had to escort out the studio. The niggas acted like they wanted to do something. I says, I'm gonna turn this bitch into 4th of July. I will go to the car. I'll come back in here and I will hurt everybody in here if y'all put your hands on this little girl. So we gotta keep in mind, it's like, let's be real. Some of us have been in the company of brothers and sisters who have said offhand comments, and there should have been a checking order right there. I remember being behind when I was donating at a plasma center one time. There was a sister in front of me. She was talking about this young boy was so fine. I crept in his bedroom and fucked him on, what is that shit called? A bunk bed. You know what I'm saying? And everybody was laughing about it in the room. And I'm like, yo, that's fucked up. Like, you talking about somebody's little son. And she thought the shit was funny. Some of us are acting in this energy all the time. So that's why we like, oh, no, man, leave R. Kelly alone. You know what I'm saying?
And that's why I don't care what people say. I enjoy what Black Girl Magic is doing. And we're going after the sponsors. So all the people who trying to defend him, it don't matter what the fuck you say. If enough black women say to whoever is sponsoring him or who's hooking up his concerts and say, we will destroy your company if you fuck with that man, just like they stopped Rick Ross Reebok still when he did that disgusting song, You Ain't Even Know It. It will happen. Go ahead, Open Mind.
Yeah, just to backtrack something y'all mentioned earlier about us him being 15 years too late and why we cape for him. Look at Charlamagne. Charlamagne got away with rape. We've all seen the documents. Y'all did the live stream on it. We there, y'all with your references. We saw the police reports, and we listened to the old girl's side of the story and how her mama didn't take her to court and how it was a default judgment. The whole way that shit went down allowed Charlamagne to get away. Now let's talk about this girl's mama for a second with Charlamagne shit. She is a prime example of a girl falling into the hands of a guy like R. Kelly, which is her guy with Charlamagne, because black girls, black people have no fucking justice. The fact that they gave Charlamagne sexual assault and slapped him on the wrist for what he was allegedly, he was getting accused of back when it happened with that little girl, is proof that let it have been a white 15-year-old girl that Charlamagne had supposedly raped, he would not have been the Charlamagne God that we see. And it goes back to R. Kelly. We don't have no representation. Plus, not only do we not have the representation, we got some fucked up ass Christian-minded family members who on some, well, the Lord forgives everybody shit when your auntie or your grandmamas know that Uncle Charlie is nasty. but he go to church faithfully Sunday, and he one of the damn ushers, he on the deacon board, whatever the fuck important role he got in the church. You come to Granny with that shit, and she like, girl, get on out of here with that demon shit. You know, they throw the Bible at you. It's you get, as a young girl in a black community, a black young girl, if you growing up in a nasty family like that, you're going to be in a circle of bullshit. They're going to keep bouncing you around back and forth with excuses and cop-outs, because that's how, it's like we try to go to court and get justice, and then we try to go to our family to get justice, and it seems like nobody gives a fuck about the young black person, the young black kid, whatever, abuse. If it had to be sexual, what if it's just flat out physical abuse? Who does a black child go and tell that, hey, my mama, my daddy is physically abusing me in the house? Not nothing sexual, just I get a whooping for shit, but when I get a whooping, it's not a whooping, it's a beat down. You know, there's a difference between whooping your kids and beating your kids down.
Yeah.
And I'm a firm believer in not whooping kids, because I can effectively get my kids to mind me and do what I say without raising my hand.
Well, yeah.
But you got that energy in us as black folks. We think we got to take that belt off and whoop somebody's ass because the kid's a little out of control. It's a fucking kid.
Well, real quick, open mind. Your kids ain't gonna mess with you because you know that Michael Jai White shit anyway. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, but let's keep it real, man. Like let's rewind back to the story of Tina Turner, and the women that come from that era. You see what I'm saying? Like, because I got my mama, your mama come from that era. Our aunts come from that era, and I can't tell you how many times I've been in a room with these women as a young boy, hearing about how they were raped by their uncles, and they're coming home and their little dresses got blood on it, and the mama's snapping on them, talking about they were demonic, you probably enticed them, you got that Jezebel spirit.
That's what Nicki Minaj did when she tried to defend her brother who anally raped that young girl.
And some of these, exactly, Sin, and some of these women were mentally scarred because there's some stories like, come on, I read a bunch of shit and I seen a bunch of shit. There have been some women, kid you not, from that era who mothers tried to put them in a tub full of bleach, pouring turpentine on them, talking about, I gotta rinse you off. You don't tell nobody about this. Again, that has been a norm in a culture, and there's a pathology that goes there. So there's this cultural amnesia shit that goes on that people try to walk away from or walk down. Like, just because people got iPhones open, just because people got Samsung Galaxies or they waiting for the next updates, that doesn't mean like somewhere right now somebody in Detroit is being sexually molested, somebody in Queensbridge, New York is being sexually assaulted, somebody in Atlanta is being trafficked, somebody in Chicago is being trafficked. Like, we kind of got to get out of this bubble sometimes. You feel me?
And people don't care unless it feeds into their whatever political point they're trying to make. People are on a lot of bullshit right now. If it's a young boy and they say, "Oh, a grown man touched me," I get fuck these homos. Homos are pedos.
Gay agenda.
Let's
go
with the pitchforks.
Gay agenda.
But if a grown ass woman touch a little boy, or a grown man touch a little girl.
Oh, man, well, she was fast.
I mean,
man, you got you some pussy.
You
a man now.
On,
you a man now, nigga.
How was it? It then said, let's diagnose R. Kelly, for example. R. Kelly has mentioned in the past, I think on a candid interview he had in the early 2000s, maybe late 90s, where he mentioned he was molested by a grown woman. He never got justice for that. That grown woman that molested R. Kelly when he was a little kid, that turned him into what he is now, never got prosecuted.
Well, R. Kelly was molested by a man. You know that, right?
Well,
I thought it was a grown woman. So
no,
it was both?
He was sexually assaulted by a man and a woman.
Right. So, and I ain't know the man part, but just the female part. The fact that a grown-ass woman had sex with this little boy, R. Kelly, and that grown-ass woman, of course the man too, was not brought to justice. This is a black issue in the black community where we do not have representation. First of all, we don't seek it. We don't seek the justice. Then when we try to seek the justice, if we do, you get a Charlemagne the God slap on the wrist, sexual assault. That's not a jail time for that. That's just a bad look on your reputation. But there's no jail time. There's no fact. Because look at Charlemagne. Look at the space he's in. I see so many people fucking with Charlemagne. And I'm trying to figure out why. So many of my favorite artists and actors and actresses continue to stand next to this dude, and I don't understand why. Like, how did you not read that case and look at it for what it was, from a bird's eye view?
Also, open mind. Another thing too is that it didn't reach the legs that it should have. Like where R. Kelly is on every publication, is on newspapers, is online, is everywhere. It almost got there with, you know, Charlamagne. It almost got there. It's about to go to entertainment, Hollywood, and everything. But right before it got there, it got shut down. So you still got a lot of people like my aunts and my family don't even know who Charlamagne is. And then there's some people who don't even know what he did because they weren't on YouTube and they weren't on Twitter.
Well,
so they don't know of the accusations pertaining to Charlamagne.
Right, and I want to preface it here, open mind. Well, first of all, I want to ask you a question because,
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, growing up, bro, right? I
Yeah.
mean, how many times, you being a young boy, you may have some little facial hair, you might have had your little locks. I don't know what they were, maybe little twigs at the time. You know what I'm saying? And you had grown women come up to you. You see what I'm saying?
All the time.
And they thought it was coming. And you had the guys excusing it. You see what I'm saying? Like, you 14, you 13,
Bill Maher, when there was
yeah.
a teacher, some blonde-haired chick,
Yeah.
had sex with some little boy, and he actually called the little boy a punk.
Yeah, that's
She
the norm.
said the teacher was hot.
Mm-hmm.
You should have been okay with
Should
it.
have shut up. Right. And
Yeah.
also, I want to go back to real quick with the Charlamagne situation. Let me tell you what's really happening here. First of all, the document in itself is a police statement. All right. So that doesn't indicate that the police statement is true. It doesn't indicate that it's false either. I'm just putting this out there. This is, how they approach it in the court of law. What the public saw was just a police statement, a filing of a report, right? What we didn't get to see was the transcript during the court case and exactly what went on there. And from my understanding, it was a plea deal. So to be honest with you, with the Charlamagne case,
That's
even
why
though,
so many people are confused.
Yeah, even
Yeah.
though the sister's out there and she's telling her story, the reason why it hasn't met the same type, it doesn't have the same type of energy as the R. Kelly case, is because there's not much meat there outside of the allegations, and many of the people, to like Sin stated, they don't know what exactly took place with Charlamagne.
Some of them don't even know the story.
Yeah, some
They
people don't even know
that what happened last year. Some of them don't even know that was a thing last year.
Yeah, like I for the people listening, I'll preface it like this: when Irv Gotti and Chris Gotti showed the public of the restraining order, that 50 Cent did file a restraining order after they fucked him up in the studio, and Benzino gave him that ride, and he, drove his bleeding ass to the nearest hospital. They showed you inside court documents. What happened with the Charlamagne case? What they showed people was a police report filing, and then you have the sister out here. She's saying that he did have sex with me, and then you have the mother out here. You see what I'm saying? So I think that's why that one hasn't really caught any flames like that, and that's why you still have people kind of fuck with him. They're like, well, nothing was proven, and I'm just telling you that's how it is. Doesn't mean that I'm saying that's otherwise. You see what I'm saying?
And the only reason I brought it up is because the girl said herself when whoever interviewed her, her mother did not allow her to go to court to testify. At the day of the court date to prosecute Charlamagne was in court with his lawyer, whoever represented him, and that was it. The girl who was 15 at the time, her mama kept her purposely, kept her away. She said this out of her mouth. They asked her what was going on. She told her side of the story. She said, I didn't go to court because my mama did not want me to go to court. And when you're a 15-year-old person, you got to do what your parents say. She can't just go to court because she felt like it. Her mama got to take her. You got to be escorted with a parent. And her mother, on purpose, did not let her go to court to testify. And that's how justice works. If you don't show up to court, there's a default judgment.
Well, you know what, real quick, here's one thing about it, Open Mind. If that is the case 100% with Charlamagne, if that is, what really took place, then I'm going to be honest with you, that's something the mother's going to have to carry to the grave. You see what I'm saying?
That's what she said. The mother said she wished she would have went there. She
And
said the only reason why was during the time she didn't want everyone in the media and people making fun of her daughter.
Well, they still doing it.
So she left. No, I'm not going to say that the mother is right. She made the wrong decision. But
a horrible decision.
But no. I just want to talk about society. No, society is horrible. And that's why sometimes parents make the wrong decision in trying to protect their children. But Busy, who was molested, everybody made fun of him. Yeah. And there are girls that get made fun of too.
Now. Yeah, we talking about Busy Bone because Busy Bone was molested as a child, and they did drag him during that.
Wendy Williams and everybody. So let's not pretend that, that's not why some parents may make the wrong decision based off of things like that. You know, you still should go to court. Like, I agree with you, Open Mind, she still should have. But that's why sometimes parents make the wrong decision, because of society trying to humiliate those who've been touched.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing about it. You see what I'm saying? And my thing is, yes, you know, there is a societal problem, and then there's also a part of that societal problem, there's a parenting problem as well, because there's parents I knew who went and prosecuted the sexual assaulter, and they didn't give a fuck about what was said in the community. They say, you hurt my child, and my child now will be a scarred adult. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is, regardless of the fact, you still have to have a backbone. You still need to do right by your child, because having children in this world, that's a blessing. That's a gift. That's not a privilege. That's a gift. And again, as Sin brought up, we've had plenty of rap. DMX was molested when he was younger. Busy Bone was molested. On his last album, Crossroads, the 2010 album, Crosswords, which is a dope album, he talked about people was laughing at him, talking about he was a faggot and all that stuff because he got molested as a young child.
He got blackballed from Hollywood and hip-hop because he didn't like, you know, rappers and other people messing with underage kids.
There's a reason why Busy Bone acts the way he acts. There's a reason why he was all on, you know, Instagram tomorrow. If one of you niggas out there got a problem with BB, you know what time it is. You know, there's a reason why Busy Bone is quick to snap and prove his manhood. You know what I'm saying? A legendary MC, but nonetheless, he had something happen to him that has afflicted him possibly throughout the rest of his life.
And he was kidnapped at a very young age, and went through orphanage to orphanage and a very crazy childhood.
Yeah, so people better do their research and see, and that's the thing about it. You see what I'm saying? Why people being all this Captain America shit for the R. Kellys and shit? You better look. You better look.
And that's another thing I want to speak on too real quick, is about choices. Busy was touched as a child. He decided, I'm gonna fight for people that's taking place with them. I'm gonna fight for those children. And I'm going to try to defend them as much as possible, which he has if people look at his background. R. Kelly chose what happened to him to use it as an excuse to do it to lots, and I mean a lot of other children. So
he became the predator.
Let's keep that in mind. He became a predator. Busy became a defender.
But it is what it is.
Children.
And you know what, Open Mind? You know how I always say, bro. You know what I'm saying? You know what I told you before. You got to be careful when too many niggas love you. That means you're doing something wrong. Continue.
Yo, Fritz, that shit there you said to me, bro, the other night, man, that was some real deep shit. I've been pondering on it, thinking about it, and you're right. You know, you gotta be borderline a jackass to people until they show you that they deserve you to treat them with some humility. And I don't really agree with being that way, but people will prey on your light. If you have a lot of light in you, and you just positive about a lot of shit, people like, yeah, this motherfucker's in a good mood. Let me see what I can get out of him. And, you know, it's the thing about people that try to play you or try to mess over you, like the kids that are molested, the people that are taken advantage of, the person who's being taken advantage of more than likely knows that they're being taken advantage of. They just want to see how far you're going to go with it. Because everybody's not as stupid as you think. Like, a child knows that they're not supposed to be touched on and messed with, but sometimes they'll shut up and be like, okay, let's see where this goes, because I know this is wrong. This is an adult, and they're doing it, so what is this? And it leaves the child confused. But a lot of times, sometimes you just got to be just a mean motherfucker. And the right people who are not afraid of you just because you mean, because I'm not a scary person. I can talk to mean people and nice people. The right people break down that barrier. The genuine person will let you know that you don't have to be like that towards me. I'm cool. I'm not a threat to you, so on and so forth. But for the most part, it's a lot of people that just, I think you said it when we was talking, Prince, people just want to wipe that goddamn smile off your face.
Oh, and that's exactly true. That's why people definitely have to be careful. Open Mind, any last words?
No, that's it. I just want to call in and rant. I love y'all.
We love you too, man. Thank you.
Peace, Open Mind.
All right, sir.
Hold it down, man.
Also, I want to say, stop for another time. Stop talking about the liberal agenda. This is a black woman who's been in hip-hop culture for decades, who couldn't stomach the music anymore, though, who is directing and behind surviving R. Kelly. Stop with the boogeyman bullshit. This is no white woman who's behind this documentary. It's black women. It's black women who are protesting his concerts, and it's a black woman who's directed this docu-series. So anybody who's bringing up Me Too or whatever and talking about white women targeting black celebrities, once again, it's black women behind this docu-series. It's a black woman directing it, and it's black women who wants to mute R. Kelly right now. Accountability. Again, get off the fuck shit.
You know, at the end of the day, we made our point about this, and Dream Hampton and the women that are in the documentary will be making their point as well, regardless of the fact whether you like R. Kelly or not. People are getting him up out of here, and you have to understand what R. Kelly metaphorically represents for a lot of young black girls. You got to think about that. See what I'm saying? Like, there's things that happen in people's lives, but it's a hell of a thing to be raped. You have to think about that. To be raped. You see what I'm saying? Like, you talk to a young boy, a young girl, you talk to these black women out here, you talk to these young black girls, and they've been raped. They've been raped. And you come into the argument talking about 12 play, and they've been raped. You talking about Me Too. You talking about Time's Up, and they've been raped. Do we understand the absurdity and all that? And here's my thing about it. Anybody who has an issue, you can always call in, but so far, the defenses of R. Kelly have not been strong.
Caller, name and where you're from. No, the only defense is he's a black man. Caller, name and where you're from.
This is Lex from Virginia.
Hey, what's up?
Hi. I was just listening to y'all talking about pedophilia in Hollywood and how people try to normalize having sex with these young kids, and I was thinking about how back in the day people were allowed to marry these 13-year-olds and they were 40 and stuff, and really that culture never disappears. It just goes underground, and just through generations it just kind of becomes normalized. My mom married her first husband when she was straight out of high school, and he was 10 years older than her. But if I were to come home at 18 telling my mom some 30-year-old was, trying to marry me, my mom would probably kill that man, because she knows, that man was looking at me probably when I was younger, and that, he doesn't have good intentions for me. So I think that part of it is just, it's a cultural thing that just never really disappeared. In the South, Jim Crow might be illegal, but there's still Jim Crow culture down there, if that makes sense.
Oh, that's exactly right. In old America, it was okay for grown men to sleep with 13-year-old girls, to even marry them, and they could be 40 years old. In the New World, in New America, it's against the law, but people still do it as a culture. Just like racism is supposed to be against the law, but they're still doing it as a culture, and even sometimes they try to sneak certain legislation in there to reinforce it. So absolutely.
Well, there's always a bias there too, because caller, to your point, even though that had been a part of a law, that had been part of a culture, even the people who may excuse it and say, well, that was the norm back then. But albeit, it's interesting all of a sudden how aware they become if you ask them, well, can somebody 30 have sex with your 14-year-old sister? And notice the temperament changes.
And also, I'm so happy you called in, because I do want more of the ladies to call in since we're talking about R. Kelly. But you definitely be strong in your declaration. Don't let no man, no woman, nobody try to tell you wrong is right and right is wrong. Because you're going to have so many people in society trying to put that BS on you. A grown man with a 13-year-old girl, 14-year-old girl, 15-year-old girl, 16-year-old girl, etc. is wrong. And you have a lot of people that are trying to tell these young girls and these adult women and men and young boys otherwise. So don't be fooled. Sometimes you got a lot of loud mouths in the culture, but you do have a movement where a lot of black women who have dignity and who are about protecting little girls and little boys, they're getting stronger. Their organizations are getting stronger. And I really would encourage people, especially young black girls and women, to join in that movement, because you have a lot of predators. And the only way those predators can be taken out is if you join up with other people who are about that life of getting rid of these people off the street.
Yeah, completely. You know, I just think that part of the reason it's just so normal. It's a cultural thing, you know. I don't know. That's all I really had to say. R. Kelly's a pervert. He belongs under the prison. You know, all that.
Thank you for calling in too.
All right, thanks.
Did you want to? We got any more calls coming in?
We got one more call. You want one more call?
Yeah, man, it's cool. It's all good.
Oh, yes, thank you. This is Michaela from Virginia.
What's up?
I'm just saying, I'm a millennial, and I appreciate what is happening right now because I grew up during the time where, you know, all that little fuck shit was going on in high school where we were seeing older guys. And now when I think back at it, like, what were they thinking? And we have to have this purge. We have to have this time where we see police brutality. We have to see how black women are treated. We have to see how women in general are treated in society so that we can deal with it. So we can't put it under we can't act like it doesn't exist anymore. We have to get out of our little eggshells that we try to create because I want the next generation to feel safe. I want the next generation of women, of black, you know, children to feel safe. And the only way we can do that is to deal with it. And the only way we can do it is to prosecute and punish those that are wrong. Period. And I want the next generation to see the fuck shit that the millennials do and bring it to our face that we can deal with it. Because it's not going to stop if we don't. So I appreciate where we're going right now. And people, all those people that are talking about that we have to heal the black family and the black community, this is how you do it. We got to look at the over-sexualization of our children, amongst so many other things, rather than focusing on homosexuality. Focus on how we're treating our children. Focus on how black men and women treat each other.
No, absolutely.
That's all I have to say.
No, I'm definitely down with you what you said. Like, everybody's just talking about issues outside of our community that affects us, white man, a.k.a. that's it, white man. You know, you say molestation need to stop in our community, white man. You say, you know, we got to treat our children better, white man. There comes a time where people in the community have to be held accountable for things that they are doing that are hurting our community, along with structural racism. And there should be no excuses. So I do agree with you, caller, and thank you for calling in.
Yeah, I like
we
that.
have to look within.
Yeah.
We definitely have to look within ourselves first. Then heal that. Clean that up. Then deal with what's outside of us.
Ooh.
But if we don't do that, deal with ourselves first, we're not going to be able to conquer anything outside of us.
It sounds like you're talking about accountability.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you for
But
calling.
I love what y'all do. Much love to you.
Same to you. Peace.
Yeah, man, you know. Like, you know, that's good. We need to have some more of them sisters call in.
Yeah, I mean, I want more women to call
Come on,
in.
where
Call
y'all
in,
at?
call
All
in.
y'all ladies at? Come on with them fingernails. Get to calling and dialing. We'll stay on the line a little longer if y'all get a chance to call in. Yes, and it does start healing. You know, I told Sid, I said there's a lot of things that I had to listen to and reassess. What am I ingesting and who am I supporting? You know what I'm saying? And hey, I don't care who it is. Everybody got to go. You can't have this thing keep going on because, to be honest with you, if you don't, you allow for people to make excuses. You see what I'm saying? You make excuses for a lot of these things, and I'm more the mind of there's sometimes where we're over intellectualizing predatory behavior. You see what I'm saying? Because in that space of what the people who are actually bright and they're just trying to show you some nuances, the people who are slow, the idiots, will hide in those nuances with excuses. You see what I'm saying? So they'll like, oh, well, thank you for explaining R. Kelly. You know, he been molested when he was younger, so it is what it is. Let's keep moving forward. Nah, man, we got to stop this train. You see what I'm saying?
And look, I'm messing with what a lot of millennials do. Like, I like what, you know, Gen Xers, baby boomers. I look at all generations, those who are renegades, those who are trailblazers, like Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass, and James Ford, and a lot of people. But, you know, a lot of millennials is about cleanup. You know, if other people are mad about it, so what? No, they have a study that millennials are not loyal to companies or corporations. Good. You shouldn't be loyal to a company or something that isn't loyal to you. This is why a lot of baby boomers, a lot of Gen Xers and other people got fucked over. by companies because they believed in it. Let's talk about when people used to believe in the government. There was a time where most U.S. citizens believed in their government. They had faith in Teddy Roosevelt.
Cheese.
They have faith in Teddy Roosevelt and other people. Millennials don't. You have to have a certain healthy amount of cynicism, not blind nationalism, because you have to also understand accountability and understand that not everybody is in favor of you just because they live in the United States, just because they're black, just because they're male, just because they're women. No, there are people who are predators that hide in every type of generalization to hurt people. Prince and I, we abide our life by accountability. We know there's racism out there, but accountability has gotten us this far to even networking behind the scenes with other black businessmen and women. We couldn't have got to that point if we didn't have accountability.
Yeah, exactly. Ethnocentrists and nationalists. See what I'm saying? So, I mean, that ain't really benefiting you either. But Carla, go ahead. You're now live with Thought Crimes. What's on your mind?
Hello, how y'all doing?
Good. What's up?
All right. I just want to make a little comment, especially about the people who keep talking about how they're just trying to take another black man down, which I really don't think is the case. And they try to make pedophilia seem like it's not something that happens in the black community. And recently I've been watching a lot of documentaries about child marriages in like Africa. And, I was kind of surprised. I didn't even know that still was going on till this day. In some countries they have, I forgot what they call it, but a man, like when a woman reaches maturity, she has to sleep with this man. It's just some random man in the neighborhood. And I think it's called a hyena. There we go. They call him a hyena, and he has to sleep with the woman and just virgin her so she can know how to, I guess have sex or whatever. It's their ritual. And this happens in a lot of countries. And it's like, it's not something specific to any culture. Pedophilia and being rapist, it doesn't matter what race you are. That happens to everyone. So I don't think we're above and beyond the white folks. It happens, and people try to turn a blind eye to it all the time. This has happened in my own family. When things happen, no one wants to really address the situation. So I just don't agree with people trying to make it seem like this just doesn't happen in the black community. And when I do have conversations about R. Kelly, a lot of people say, oh no, it didn't happen. That's not true. R. Kelly's this, R. Kelly. People are just so fascinated by celebrity that they just don't want to believe like the truth. So that's all I wanted to say, really.
And before you go, before you hang up, and you're right. In the Sudan, there's a 13-year-old girls once they hit puberty at 12. It happens in the Middle East. It happens in Russia. It's a taboo subject that people act like it's not on epic proportions. You have children being trafficked, thousands of children being trafficked across the continent that have humans occupying it every single day.
A multi-billion-dollar industry.
It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. You have even some gang culture. Now, there are some gangs who feel that pornography is too far for them for children, and they don't do it. But you also still have a lot of gangs that are a part of child pornography and also trafficking kids too. But everybody, people are dumb on purpose, and some people are just really dumb. But a lot of people are dumb on purpose because they don't want to have the accountability and the responsibility to stop this. They know if they acknowledge it, then they have to stop being lazy. Yeah. And a lot of people don't want to stop being lazy.
And another thing about it, Carly, you bring up some great points along with Sin. But my thing is this: I didn't hear people say Darren Seal's name is loud. You see what I'm saying? Some of y'all are saying R. Kelly's name longer and louder than Darren Seal's.
And Darren Seal was a black man in Missouri who was about black people, freedom, constitutional rights. He got gunned down and shot. Most of these
body was burned in the vehicle.
Most of these dusty broke taps who are defending R. Kelly talk about black man. They don't defend real black men.
Yeah. I mean, I tell people all the time.
That's true. And I just thought about something else. I just also wanted to say, sorry, last little thing. People really, I know you guys say this all the time, but I really truly believe this. People do not care about black children. It's just. No. If these same events were happening to white girls all taken into basically a cult, and they're being treated like dogs or whatever the fuck he has them doing, excuse me. Do you know how extreme that would be all over every single new freaking broadcasting system on the radio everywhere for days until those women were rescued. And black, you know why? It's because the white people are going to keep calling. They're going to harass the media. They're going to harass the police until something is done. But we don't do that for our own kind, for the children. It doesn't matter. We need to, the children they're the future, honestly. And I just really get really upset about this because it's like, come on now. If these were white girls, no one would even hesitate.
Oh yeah, it's like in Haiti when little girls were getting raped by the people who worked in the UN. They were over there supposedly helping to rebuild Haiti, but they were actually there just having sex with the teenage girls, and some of them were even being trafficked. So
Yeah, but
you
know
know
what?
people who
It
talk
is
positive
that.
about the UN is a piece of shit.
But
too.
it's in the. But to be honest with you, caller, it's in the cultural tapestry, because to the degree you are absolutely right about that. If it was known to for an angry white mob, because that's their superpower, white rage, you would see calling. I'm calling. That's all they do. But on the flip side though, there is, even in their space, there's a high rate of sexual predatory behavior. I mean, even look how they're billing off the little girl named Bad Barbie. I think not only is she a trash rapper, but I believe she is a sex slave. That's
And
my
she's
personal
underage.
opinion.
That's why I'm like,
And
why
she's an underage girl. I hear hip hop
Yeah.
commentators talking about somebody's busting those cheeks, and I done subscribe. I'm like, Playboy, you talking about an underage girl, regardless if she's white or black, it's still an underage girl. And in our space, we have to be honest with ourselves. We're too comfortable with dysfunctional behavior.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, that's all I had to really say, though.
Thank you for calling in as well. Peace.
Yeah, man. So that's how it is, man. And then everybody, it is what it is. But I mean, you can say what you want to say. But like I said, I think people treated Darren Seal's death like it was a trend. Khalif Browder's death was a trend. He was just a hashtag, and people moved on. And now we're back on.
Yeah, Khalif Browder is like, look, this how
It's crazy, man.
These how these phony bitches who don't do shit in their community. This is how they respond. Khalif Browder, oh, that's so sad.
Yeah.
See, white people,
Yeah.
structural racism.
Right.
Darren Seal, oh, that's so sad.
sad.
Racism. But I'm not going to do nothing about it. I'm just going to say it's so sad. I'm not going to get my ass over to Missouri and have a group of us handle exactly what took place there. R. Kelly, oh my God, it's the black man. We got to defend him.
We gotta-
What is going
yeah.
on? Let me go help. Because I'm fat and lazy, I can just go to Spotify and help him with his streaming numbers. Let me go do that.
But you know
That's
what's
what people
crazy
do. That's what
about it
people
though?
do.
Let's keep it real. Like, all you got to do is, where is the emotional energy? So you know what I'm saying? Like, so somebody mentioned Darren Seals. Like, you look at somebody's face and they go like, man, that's bro, man, motherfucking crackers, man. It's that like laid back, Smokey Joe temperament. Yeah, man, that's messed up. But R. Kelly, man, you got some people, they'll turn into the Hulk. Man, they try to do it to another black man again. They sound like Hulk Hogan and snap it to a Slim Jim. They get angry, and I've seen that. And it was the opposite for me. I was like, man, it is what it is. But, with the Khalif Browder, I got depressed, I was angry, I was, just angry, walking around with my fist clenched. The Sandra Bland, the Darren Seals, the people that was in association with Darren Seals that got murdered. Those are the things that the legitimate black folks will get upset about. But these other people, we gotta be real, man. Y'all just some star fuckers.
And we're gonna be real before we bring in the caller. I'm just gonna say, I don't really give a fuck about a lot of y'all fake people. We don't care. The more power we get, the more we're gonna help children.
Man, caller, what you doing? What you doing, caller?
Caller, you okay?
What you doing?
Hello?
I was just listening. Hi, everybody.
Well, there was a lot of breathing on the phone.
Yeah. I'll say my memo for later. Caller, name it where you're from.
My name is Chris. I'm calling from New York.
What's up, New York in the building? What do you have to say on this subject?
What I have to say is, our community as a whole, we need to address this issue of being molested as kids. I work as a paralegal in family law and divorce, so I see some of this firsthand. We need more advocates in our community to fight for us and fight with us. When it comes to the white kids, they go all out for them. Just not, but our community, we let things go. And not to say anything bad about our community, but I think the black women, we need to start teaching our kids better. Because all we do is be on Facebook, Instagram, and nothing is getting done. Right now, look at Centoya, what's going on in Tennessee. That's an eye-awakener, and people, we should be paying close attention to that, not because of Tennessee. She was a kid. She had to do what she had to do. Everybody's hoping and praying the governor gives her a pardon. You know, she went and got her degree. She's still helping people behind bars because of the kids and the sex trafficking. But people don't understand how serious this is.
Oh, yeah,
they would say, they will laugh at you, say, just suck it up. No, this happens to have troubling and long-lasting effects on our kids, our relationships, society, and how we interact with each other. It's time for 2019. We have to do better.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like, my thing is, if you don't have the standards that you and the other person should be in a relationship, don't be in one. Do not have these kids and not teach them anything right and wrong. They both need mommy and daddy in our community. We need more hands on the black man, black woman teaching our kids the right way. We need more doctors. We need more attorneys. We need more graphic designers. We don't need no more singing. We don't need no more rappers. No more modeling. None of this foolishness.
Talk about it.
We need to start rebuilding our community within. Stop letting celebrities be the voice of reason. That's the issue we have in our community. We're so in awe that this, that, and the third. They don't live in our world. They're a part of us, but they're not part of us.
I like that.
And it's like when we vote because it's on a Democratic way or it's a Republican way. There are other people who are like in the Tea Party who are looking out for us, but since we don't open our minds and learn things, we have Google, you have documentaries, you can travel around the world, get your passport. Our history goes far beyond America. And if we don't stop voting in the wrong people, we'll never get anything done. Look at the Latin community. Where it's a group of them, they got their own people running things. That's how it should be with our community.
And thank you for calling in, too. We appreciate the commentary. And you're right about a lot of the points you made. But I couldn't make out some parts. I don't know if she said Tea Party or not. But
that lady did not say nothing about no Tea Party. She was talking about Centoya. Will y'all pay attention?
But there was a part. The phone was a little bit. I can understand people because I thought at one point that was said too.
But they talking about Tea Party. But you mentioned nothing about the young lady that had to kill her pimp.
Yeah, she had to kill him to survive, and she got thrown into prison.
You talking about tea bags. We said nothing about the sister that's right now in trouble because she had to kill her pimp and she was underage. You see that? You see what I'm talking about?
Yep. Yeah. Well, look. All I'm saying is that for thought crimes, with y'all support and other things we're doing behind the scenes,
yeah,
with our money, our power, we're gonna just be helping children, helping black children, and helping adults who are about creating more power into organizations, that are for children. We don't need any more bullshitters. And you know what? A lot of the naysayers, it don't matter what you say. It don't matter if you defend R. Kelly.
This train already left the station.
Train already left the station. All the people who weren't lazy and actually read the document of him marrying Aaliyah, for those who already know about the porno tape he made, pornography tape he made. For all the people who already know this stuff, the train is already moving.
Oh yeah. And
now,
also,
for those who want to be super pro-black, it's about the black man. Y'all need to take your asses down to the states and cities like Missouri, where innocent, courageous black men are getting killed, and we're gonna have something on that like Darren Till. For those who defend R. Kelly, you're not a strong black man. You're just a bitch parading around somebody you like because he makes you shake your ass on the dance floor. That's it.
Well, also,
And,
shouts out
you
to Brandy Kane. Yeah, I apologize about that. The Centoya Brown situation. She killed a trick who was a pedophile. Her pimp was killed later in a separate situation. We appreciate you, Brandy Kane, as always. Thank you, sister, on that note. But yeah, no, absolutely. Again, like I was chopping up with Open Mind, and I told him directly, you have to be careful if too many niggas love you. And I'm saying it is what it is. You're doing something wrong. Again, we are not in the culture where not only just, speaking about that particular culture of what's going on with black women, but the identity of the black man is not appreciated by very much in part of many black men. You know what I'm saying? And
good black men.
Yeah,
Even
decent.
clarify. If you're not decent, then yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Decent black men. Like, we got to be honest. Like, come on. Like, look at the rappers we parade around. They not motherfuckers. Personalities doesn't. It's not mirroring decent black men. It's mirroring the lowbrow culture. We got to be real about that. So, of course, R. Kelly is going to be the talking point and the trigger for emotionalism. But, when you say, Darren Seals, if you talk about Khalif Browder, if you talk about many of these...
The young man that ended up lynched in the
yeah.
Was it his mother's on the lawn? Remember, she came out recently, said that
oh
he
yeah,
was
and that's a
suicidal?
situation they have to investigate. So they don't really know the ins and outs, but still, that that wasn't necessarily carried on the social media platforms. You know what I'm saying? So again, like, we have to understand. Many people are blinded by celebrity because I'm gonna keep it real with you, because of the plight economically facing many black folks. Some of these folks may feel like, if I kiss this person's ass, despite them being a completely disgusting individual, that somehow they're gonna throw me a bone. Let me tell you something right now, man. R. Kelly will shit on you, literally and figuratively. Those same people, brothers. I'm going to tell you something. If you sitting up there trying to defend this man, I guarantee you half of the celebrities that y'all might be taking up for, you would not get along with them in real life. Let's keep it. Yeah. You know how they say don't meet your heroes, right? You see what I'm saying?
Also, Donnie, Prince doesn't listen to Mystical anymore. Also, Peace God.
I ain't heard no Mystical record in a long ass time.
Also, Peace God. We already said the parents who are trafficking their children as well. That includes Aaliyah's parents. So I don't know why, again, you're allowing yourself, because you're emotionally invested in R. Kelly because he's a black man, even though he's a pedophile. You're invested in him, so you're trying to look for any crack and armor for those who are going after a pedophile, which is very weird to me. Two, we already talked about Aaliyah's parents before, even in multiple videos that we did on Thought Crimes. So on Thought Crimes YouTube channel. And we also going to have more conversations on this on our Patreon as well. But
yeah, I want to jump on the Brandy Kane comment real quick.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, shouts out to Brandy Kane. See, Brandy Kane gangster come through. She just spray up everything and keep moving. That's all she do. She said Erykah Badu is a prime example of how you can't trust all of these incense burning, head wrap wearing niggas. You know what I'm saying? That's just the truth. I'm telling you. I'm just saying, man. So. Again, most of these celebrities, you gotta understand, they come from a space of elitism, privilege, and they come from bubbles where people tell them they are the shit every day. And 9 times out of 10, most of the celebrities that folks are praising, when they meet them, they're like, damn, this person was an asshole. Well, this person don't care.
And another thing, too, to rear off a little bit, even though you said what you said, another thing people should keep in mind, Thought Crimes has over 1,000 videos. If you also include yours, actually, over 1,000 videos of content. If you show up and make an assumption, you more than likely is going to make an ass out of yourself, because we have countless of videos talking about people that we're not afraid to talk about. None of these people scare me. You're a pedophile. We talked about situations with Jeffrey Epstein. We talked about the Clintons. We talked about Trump. We talk about R. Kelly. We talk about whoever the fuck we want because we're not scared. Now some of you may be scared or biased for whatever reason. Maybe some people have hollered at a 16-year-old girl, 15-year-old girl. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know what the case is wrong with some of people, but
Correct yourself and keep it moving.
all I know is that this is how Thought Crimes operate. This is how TCZ Network operate.
Yeah, don't forget the Z, Sam. You forgot the Z.
I forgot the Z.
Do not leave the Z out.
And to be real with you, we gonna say what we want.
Oh,
Prince, as a black man, is gonna say whatever the fuck he wants. And me, as a black woman, I'm gonna say whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah.
I don't care if white men don't like it. I don't care if black men don't like it. Asian men, government, feminists, whoever. I'm gonna say whatever I want to say. And that's what it is.
Yeah, again, I'm not impressed by celebrity. To be honest with you, I've always been impressed by a different type of genius. And again, it doesn't take a genius to be a celebrity. Honey Boo Boo will tell you that. The Gotti family, the Gotti children with all that damn, Oompa Loompa orange tan shit they got on their face will tell you that. It doesn't take a genius to be a celebrity. The likes of George Washington Carver, Ida B. Wells, and individuals like that have always impressed me. I'm immensely impressed by black genius in a different space. So that's just the difference. But again, I know it's a starfucker culture. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what it is. And I'm perfectly understandable of it. And I understand the responsibilities of the reactions to some of the stuff I say. I'm sure it's not going to be loved by the starfuckers, and we're cool with that. Sin and I have gotten over that a long time ago.
And to be honest with you, there's enough good people in this world, despite a lot of stuff that get ignored. I'm just going to be supporting, again, organizations that are working their way into corporate entities that are fighting against this stuff. So it really don't matter what broke people who are scared have to say when you have people who are trailblazers, who are about being black.
Seeing you a feminist.
Who are about both black men and black women, who are about black family, who are about black children. Those people are going to continue to advance. And those people who've been, I don't use the word coon on public platforms anymore because we talked about that.
Yeah, we talked about it. I don't care about this shit. Come on.
Those who
just tell them they being suckers, man.
Who are suckers pertaining to white institutions, who want to placate to white people, whether it's a white man, white woman, or their union together, or who want to demonize black men as a collective, or black women who don't care about black children. Y'all just gonna fall off anyway because it's 2019. Things are in the work, so it is what it is.
Also, Max Evans, shouts out to Max Evans. He says, Thought Crimes. Have y'all heard about slave play? Yeah, I saw pieces of it. I saw the brother, well, he's not a brother, the individual that was the writer that played. I'm going to tell you something, Max Evans. That man looks and sounds confusing as hell. No wonder that piece of trash shit he played comes from the pen of that individual. He sounds crazy. I've seen him in interviews.
Yeah, I haven't done enough research on it.
It's trash. I saw clips of it. It's a disgusting play.
Yeah, Max, and also to you, Prince.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to give too much commentary on it. Have you watched the whole thing to see if it was talking about those who like to engage in that?
No,
or was it just a positive, or was it just trying to be positive about slave play?
No, it's not. It's nothing positive. You read the general synopsis of it.
Was it trying to be positive about that type of stuff, or was it trying?
It was trying to be
awareness?
fun. No, hell no.
So it was comedy.
Yeah, it's ridiculing. It's a ridiculing, self-degrading, lowbrow type of art where there were black men and black women who sat through the play, and you can watch their reviews online where they sat through the play and they couldn't do it, and I believe it was one sister one sister actually broke down because the ridiculing of what we know about slavery. She said all of these white people were laughing at the situation.
So it was like the Harriet Tubman skit that Russell Simmons did.
Yes, like Snagglepuss Simmons when he said, "I thought it was a funny skit."
So it was that they did on that.
Yes, the one where D Storm was a part of.
Wow.
The Harriet Tubman skit, but it's like literally on a whole nother level. And the guy, I can't think of the guy's name. He got all the hair, walking around with the 8th grade braids. That man sounds crazy, but they're giving him the flag to go.
I first heard about it, I thought it was like a drama. I didn't go look it up or anything. I just assumed it was supposed to be like a drama. But man,
it's supposed to be.
It tells you how low.
Yeah.
There are certain people in our community. It shows you how low they will go to having a play called
slave play,
and have it be a comedy for white people.
Yeah,
dicks and clits to get hard and for them to laugh.
Yeah.
While subjecting.
Jeremy O'Harris is his name. You're absolutely right, Manny Anger, and because I saw some clips of what they were doing with some black women in it, and it's crazy.
While subjecting black women and black people to that.
Yeah,
that shows you how low certain people in our community will go, just like co-signing pedophiles. There's a lot of work that has to be done.
Man,
slave play. All the people who actually supported that film, play.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Maybe the people should try to get their sponsorships and call them out too, make them lose some money.
Well, yeah, because I know they're doing a petition. I'm like, you got to go after the theater.
You got to hurt the theater. You got the theater and those who are sponsors of that play.
Because that ridiculing of like, come on, man, like this is my thing. Like clean up for your people. You see what I'm saying? Because we have too many people. They're looking to go mainstream, and they don't care about how they come off to their own, but they care about how they look amongst others. Like literally, clean up for your people. Like that's some filth. That was just Jeremy O'Harris is some filthy shit you've directed, and making fun of the plight of black folks. It's ridiculous. But then again, the degradation of black aesthetics, black beauty. Has been at the heartbeat of this country. We see it emanate out of the likes of the entertainment industry, the fact that the entertainment industry was launched off of Birth of a Nation, and it continues on with this energy. It's not all that surprising. So I wasn't really all that surprised that a confusing black person decided this is what I'm going to do. You see what I'm saying? You're absolutely right, Manny. He does sound dusty and confusing, but that is a disgusting play, to be honest with you. It's ridiculous.
I'm going to put it in here before we close out real quick so people could see it.
Manny said he sound like he needs some more milk. Yeah, man. But if they people were real about it, then they would hold the theater accountable and the sponsors of the theater accountable as well. You see what I'm saying?
All right, let's look at this real quick.
But there you go. Right there. And he called himself trying to be like Quentin Tarantino and trying to do a throwback to a lot of some of the disgusting films from the blaxploitation era, the lowbrow blaxploitation films, exploiting what happened with black folks and being sex slaves and being oppressed and all that type of stuff. And he has these interviews with these liberals, some of these white liberals, because this is where you'll see the white liberals. Well, I think that's what you're doing. It's so edgy. Like I saw him in a couple interviews. I just said, man, this is a trip, bro. So I'm about to go listen to some John Coltrane. I don't have time for this.
I'm gonna bring up a hypocrisy here, though. Mm-hmm. I'm just gonna have to say I don't like this play, and I don't like what the black guy did with directing this play and stuff. But a lot of black people did go see Django.
Yeah, they did.
And
there was a lot of black people who had a problem with it, too.
There was a minority of black people who only had a problem because the N-word was overused, in their opinion. And they didn't like the mixing of the timeline. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't enough because it shows
it made over 400 million, I believe.
Exactly.
The Django made over 400 million. Even Will Smith at the time was considering doing the film. And again, when the bottom falls out, this is what happens.
This is what I would do. I would talk to them. I think the black community needs to talk to them because you gave Quentin Tarantino a pass. Jamie and Kerry Washington, they were on BET. Quentin Tarantino was trying to speak in a black accent, or what he perceived as a black accent. He uses the word nigga, and Samuel Jackson doesn't say anything about it. I think the play is disgusting, but what I would...
Oh, you haven't seen it yet, though.
No, I'm talking about from the photos and stuff. Mm-hmm. Only from what I've seen right now. But I'd be very careful for when black people enjoy content from white people, but then go on to punish black people for the same content, pertaining to that stuff, that type of dark comedy or satire. Because Quentin Django made a lot of money, and a lot of black people did go and see that film. And
This is what I'll
that
say.
film, Django, was like you said.
yeah.
The play is like even a spin on that blaxploitation, all the stuff that people don't boycott Quentin Tarantino for.
Well, you know what my thing is? I feel, to be honest with you, I think both should be punished. Both should be punished because both images are destructive. The brother had already he casted the contract. He wrote his final draft. They rolled on with the play. They went on a campaign with it. Quentin Tarantino is trash, and it's been in his movies for a long time.
But he never gets in trouble, and we know right now he's not in trouble. Like with black people like this with the artwork, or it was trash.
Yeah.
But we could talk to him. Don't do
Maybe
this type of
hypothetically,
hypothetically.
you may be able to talk to him, but my guess is you can't.
If he's willing to listen, to talk to him, because
he's very firm. He's very firm about his play.
If Quentin Tarantino, of course, because of Quentin Tarantino's whole career, he has a career in Pulp Fiction when he uses the word nigga and he has a black wife. He has a
don't forget
film.
about the scene where, he always has some way of sexually subjecting both black men and black women.
A black
in his
man
films.
get anally raped
Ving Rhames.
in his film. Then he goes on to do what this play looks like it was doing. Let's not pretend that the Django wasn't slave play, where the women, Candyland, and all that stuff. So my thing is, I wouldn't see that type of content. Of course, you should definitely handle them, but I do see with Quentin Tarantino, he's been in a lot of black spaces and platforms with his films that are very insulting to black people, and only a small minority do something to him.
Well, I mean, but you got to think about it like this, though. It's the same thing with R. Kelly, though. Like I tell people all the time.
That's pedophilia.
No. Let me finish my point.
You mean how people react?
Yeah. Let me finish my point. What I'm saying is this: when filth is articulated well, and you have people who enjoy it under the guise of entertainment, their natural defenses, their moral defenses are low. So let's be real. If Slave Play was a knockout hit, if it was like a solid knockout hit on some real funny stuff, I guarantee you have more of a split response. A lot of people won't throw Quentin Tarantino, even they had their complaints about Django because they enjoy Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2. They enjoy Jackie Brown. They enjoy Pulp Fiction. And because of that, like R. Kelly, when he made the 12 Play and all of these songs, because of the people and the art that they have brought out to the public in the entertainment, people's defenses are lower, so they're not as quick to throw them out. Now, my thing is with the Slave Play, look, I saw clips of it, and I was reading things about it online, and then from the responses of what I've seen of black people who actually saw it, I said, wow. And one of the complaints they kept hearkening to, to my point, was that it wasn't written all well. Like, I'm going to be honest with y'all. Can we be real? Like, if Slave Play was on some Def Comedy Jam type shit, I'm sure you'll have a split response, and that's how it works with the general public. Again, if filth is articulated passively enough or very well in entertainment, you can get away with anything. That's the whole thing with the NWA shit. There was people that was like, yo, what is this? You see what I'm saying? And you have people say, no, man, it's good. They got a classic album, this, that, and third. And this is just what it is. I'm just using them as an example, but this is how it works in entertainment.
But, again, R. Kelly is pedophilia. When it comes to these two guys right here, they made something similar to the Django. They just put it on theater. And what I'm saying is that our community should have checked Quentin Tarantino for Django and his other films that people have not checked them on. They co-signed it. They're in some of people's top 10. And this is what I see in the realm of this type of stuff, these blaxploitation type of thing.
Yeah,
you know, that's what I'm keeping my eye on, because I don't get that. I don't get that type of push. It's kind of like, even though things could have been done better in the Boondocks, for example, you have people who co-sign those type of things with white people behind it, but then instead of at least trying to come on more of a brother, let's talk to each other first, they actually do conquer and get rid of them, but they don't do that to Quentin Tarantino. So that's just something that I think people should just think about and look at.
Yeah, and again, you know, you have people who enjoyed all of his films. You know, to me, that Jackie Brown scene where he comes in and he sits there, and how long does he call Samuel L. Jackson? He had Phil Lamar's character gets killed in the back seat with John Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson, and he says, "I have a dead nigger in the back seat of my car, a dead nigger," and he says it over and over and over and over, and you still have people saying that's classic work. You see what I'm saying? So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not co-signing this slave play. I actually do think they should be canceled, so I don't want nobody to get confused. But I do have a problem with people laughing at what white people do that's derogatory towards black culture, but then when it comes to slavery, but then completely getting rid of black.
But you know what it is? What we talked about though, because let's keep it real. A lot of Negroes, you know, and I'm talking about women and men. A lot of them, what do we say? Sometimes black people as a culture, their first reaction is the truth, because how black people initially reacted to some of Quentin Tarantino's film was right until black celebrities who he's worked with stood up for him.
When a minority of black people voices started getting louder and louder about Django, Jamie Foxx and others, they quelled that down.
Oh, he's fine.
And I like Will Smith because Will Smith didn't want to do the film because he felt he was not really being the hero in the film.
It was beneath him anyway.
And be honest with you, Jamie Foxx wasn't the hero in the film.
Wasn't.
They gave it to the German dude.
Yeah,
so
he got to kill the big boss.
Exactly.
Jamie Foxx, if y'all notice, he got to kill all the ignorant, toothless crackers.
Yeah,
the underlings.
The underlings. So, and then also in the movie, he said y'all fucking weak in Django. He said y'all got 3 dots, dimples on the back of your skull.
The nigger.
And you're punk bitches who don't fight back pertaining to racism. That's what Django told y'all. So
and then also,
yeah,
the scene that I thought was crazy, and this tells you his mentality, because you understand the compartmentalization of races, how they even view black men and black women. In the movie, he had the black bucks on the ground and, you know, talking about work for me, nigger. You want a beer, nigger, right? And then he has a scene where he's showing all of these black women celebrating a birthday, and the sister that he was with, her name was Bathsheba. I was like, wow, that's crazy. He even named her Bathsheba. And if you know the historical nature, but that's crazy. You know, Django was, man, it's a film was a trip. And when you had people the likes of Cat Williams go off about the film, saying, you know, reason why he didn't like it. He said they had sent him the script 3 years before the movie was made. And he said he saw it and he turned that down. And then you had celebrities, black celebrities, go against him publicly and tell, like, yo, Kat, I think you the one being the racist. So it was some weird energy, because a lot of times, it's saying, you talked about it before, sometimes it'd be these black celebrities that split the hairs of black opinion. When sometimes they're right when they react. They're like, nah, I don't like this film.
I mean, and I understand Kill Bill was a really solid film, but I don't like Quentin Tarantino. And to be honest with you, all he does is knock off black directors from the blaxploitation time and mix it in with Japanese cinema as well.
And Grindhouse shit.
And Grindhouse. Boom, there you go. That's Quentin Tarantino.
Terrible films. And people said through that Kill Bill, you saw he didn't care? What was Vivica Fox's character that killed her right in front of her daughter? And said, you got a problem with me?
Well,
Come see
no,
me.
purpose.
We get
She walked in.
It's Quentin Tarantino. I don't trust his ass. The way he had that killing, I was like, man, that's some extra shit. The girl come in and see her mother dead in the kitchen.
But anyway, all this stuff is fugazi, and R. Kelly is a pedophile. Black people need to figure out a way to be more consistent with their image across the board. And we're going to be watching it tonight in support of Dream Hampton. She's definitely a dope writer. Again, been in hip-hop for decades, wrote for The Source magazine. And, you know, she directed this docuseries. And John Legend, you know, was brave enough to go into the docuseries to talk about it. And salute to her and to salute to what she's doing.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And one other thing I wanted to touch on, since we're talking about some of these tragic white directors and their stereotypes of black folks, remember now, Louis C.K. did direct Pootie Tang. And remember now, he said nigger comfortably in front of Chris Rock. Yep. And now you go back to what his ideology is, and that's why he had Pootie Tang speaking like a slave, talking about Guatata, Wapatapa, Lapa Shah, and Wapalal, and Dirty D, and just all of the black people had, Wanda Sykes' character was a black prostitute on the corner, and it just has some ridiculous shit that Louis C.K., he lives in that weird racist blaxploitation shit where it's just all over the place and honky nigger talk and all that. So again, that's just Hollywood, but outside of y'all, it's the entertainment industry, and before you start screaming about, morality, you have to check yourself, what you ingest, what do you pass off as well, because at some point in time we have all been complicit. Anyway, do you have any final thoughts? Sincere.
I'm just happy that you're my partner.
What? You what? Don't tell people that. This is a professional work relationship.
Nah,
I don't appreciate your passes at me.
Nah, I'm just saying most people I just don't get along with. I don't like most people. They're full of shit.
Oh, man.
And their breadth of history is not good.
Very shallow, right?
Yeah.
It is frustrating. It can be frustrating.
Absolutely.
That's why, we go outside and play football.
You're good with patterns of humanity, cultural patterns, you know enough historical events. It's just a lot of things that makes things easier even for us to work together too. I'm just being honest.
You know me, man. You know what I'm saying? Look at that. You got some people, they say they can relate. Sin got her hand on her head. She says, I am done. We love you too, Calvin White man. As well. Again, folks, we do appreciate you. And likewise, Sin, you know how I am. I definitely appreciate your immense, dense breadth of knowledge and history and your patterns. And, hey, you know how it is with you. You know what I'm saying? You get down, you stand on your square. And my thing is this. Like I told you, Sin, I always had to analyze my emotions, my hypocrisy, and where I stand. Once I find out certain things, once I find out about certain things about celebrities, musicians, entertainers in general, I back off of them. You know what I'm saying? Because the mood is not the same. The spell is gone. You see what I'm saying? Once you find out about stuff like, damn, man, this is what you was doing behind the scenes. So that's what it is. Also, somebody said, Donnie Lennox, Prince smokes Reggie. Can't trust that nigga. Anyway, shouts out to everybody in the chat room, by the way. And also, I think a few people did donate. I can't see that information right now. I think Sin can on the back end because she's on the back end of everything. I'm out here in the chat with y'all.
Yeah, Sibley donated $5. We appreciate that. Also, Desi, also $2 donation. We appreciate that. $2. To the Church of Thought Crimes.
That can buy some mayonnaise.
Yeah. You about to make me snort. We appreciate that. The House of Mayonnaise. And Morega donated twice, a collective $4, and we appreciate that as well.
Is that Morega? That's like Moringa, right? Remember we had some Moringa? Y'all should try that. Moringa's some good stuff. You know what I'm saying? Morigenia. All right, folks. Again, shouts out to the wonderful people that come through. Shouts out to the sister, Brandy Kane. Shouts out to everybody in the chat room. King Hebrew holding it down, back spinning out there in New York, holding it down out there as well. We do really appreciate everybody, whether you agree with us or disagree. The facts remain that corrections must be made within our spaces and outside of our immediate spaces.
I'll answer this call because they called 5-10 minutes ago, and then we'll close out.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Call a name and where you're from.
All right, then.
Tia calling from Maryland.
Okay.
What's up, Maryland in the building?
Maryland, all right.
I wanted to say thank you, and I appreciate you guys for doing this show. Is basically super important to anyone, I guess, in the chat room and stuff that's defending R. Kelly and pedophilia. Don't, because I think some people may be trying to defend him because they themselves may have been victims of it and they haven't come to terms with it, and it's kind of like you're siding with your oppressor, and that gives you some kind of power. I myself am, a victim of it, and I'm in my mid-30s, and I just disclosed to my mother what happened to me. So, you know, it is never too late. I know maybe it was 15 or 20 years ago with R. Kelly, but you know, it's not too late for him to be brought to justice, basically. And I'm glad that Dream Hampton and the rest of the ladies are coming out and they're speaking out about him.
Also, you know, thank you for being brave enough to call in and to even talk about your experiences. You know, some people, you know, it's hard for them to come out because of the society and also the trauma that took place. So thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
You too. Peace.
Yeah.
Bye.
Real people, real experiences.
It's not fake.
It's not fake.
It's not a joke.
This is not Judge Judith Scheinlin.
Nope.
You know, this is serious. You know?
And a round of applause to everybody who called in.
Yeah, round of applause. And drop a bomb for that last caller if you can find it. It's that, do we got one of those dusty, funky Master Fleck bombs? We got a couple of them, but drop a bomb. There you go. Sound like some 15s riding through the South. You know what I'm saying? And again, blessings to that last caller and all of those who happen to be listening to the sound of our voices, who have been victims of sexual abuse, sexual trauma, and you have not had family members that believed you or they persecuted you. If you had a society that has basically put you on the outskirts, we do support you fully, and some of you all who may be harboring those experiences quietly, again, you know, you can talk to someone. We also, you know, we're going to be having our wonderful sister on when we get a chance, Miss Sonia Ross, black therapist.
Yes,
you know,
based out of Maryland.
Based out of Maryland, yes. Please stay attuned to those wonderful broadcasts, and you can even backlog it on our original channel, Thought Crimes, as well, where you can just simply type in Sonia Ross to search the video feed, and you know the wonderful interviews we had with her. All of them will pop up, and she talks about sexual trauma in the black community and what does it mean and why it afflicts us in a certain way and why it exists for the most part. So again, we do appreciate all those wonderful and brave callers.
So why would I be at a slut walk that is initiated by
What happened?
By Amber Rose, who support men who've probably done heinous things to other women?
Mm-hmm.
No, somebody who thought they had something funny to say.
Oh.
And a Michael Jackson mask, that would be hideous.
Wait, hold on. Let me go to his. Let me go get the applause ready. I'm about to go to his Jay Leno-ish joke. Here we go. Here we go. Well, let me do this right.
Extra voice.
Hey, hi everybody. This is amateur comedy night. I got a joke here, yeah, boy. I flew in from Sambo, America, and boy, are my arms tired. Here's another joke, y'all. Sin was dressed like Michael Jackson in a mask at the last slut walk. Oh, wow. Shoo. Boom. Pow. Wow. That one was hot. I got another one. What do you call sincere? A feminazi. Boom! Pow! Gotcha! Okay, folks. Thank you. Thank you. Stay tuned for my next show. I'll be performing out of a dumpster.
Come on,
everybody want to be a nigga, but nobody want to be a nigga.
You know, you
How
gotta
about that question?
You know, you gotta come stronger than that, my partner.
Yeah, you gotta come a little bit,
bro.
You gotta come a little bit better than that.
You know, you talking to. Come on,
like
man.
there's people who say stuff that we don't like and that we actually disagree with, but at least they be funny about it.
Come on now.
I mean, come on, man. I didn't even laugh at yours. I even repeated it in a dry manner. You gotta come better than that.
Bro, you ain't even go as hard as my razor bumps. Hey, bro, come on now.
No, you don't have razor bumps, but remember before you combed your beard, you did have a lot of dry naps on the corner.
Oh boy, how many times I broke a comb up in there? You ain't even, you know what I'm saying? He ain't even hard as the naps in my beard, player.
Prince had peas all on the side of his beard. I had to tell him yesterday. I said, when we take a shower, you better have that comb ready for your beard.
Yeah, it hurt when I was in the shower.
And that product we found at We Buy Black, that's for black men.
Uncle Jimmy's is
something Jimmy's or something.
I think it was Uncle Jimmy's, a black-owned company.
I said you better use that.
Yeah. So come on.
So now it's looking fresh today though. Now,
boy, I'm telling you,
looking fresh.
Them naps hurt.
You know, because you know there's naps if there's space between the hair, you know?
Yeah.
You was like, come on, you need to fix that.
Broke a comb in there. I was so mad. I said, ancestors, release this nap.
All right, everybody. Peace.
What business are you in?
Oh, I make my bread and butter. I'm pushing.
What business are you in?
Oh, I make my bread and butter. I'm pushing.